Just walk away. Just walk away, and there will be an end to the horror.
All right, everybody, we're live. Welcome back to MGTOW Chats, episode number 65. Hopefully you guys can hear us. Everything is okay. I'm continuing to use my laptop plugged directly into the modem, so hopefully we won't have any problems as we've had in the past. And so far it's been working okay, even though YouTube is telling me right now that the video output is low, so some viewers will experience buffering. That's YouTube for you. Anyway, this episode is titled Cirrus Videntes, and basically that means looking up at the clouds. And we're going to talk
gazing at the clouds.
That's it, gazing at the clouds. And we're going to talk a little bit about chemtrails today because we've promised it in the past. We haven't come around to it, but now we've decided to do it. We're not experts on the subject, but it's definitely an interesting one. Anyway, how are you doing tonight, Lamprey?
I had a thought-like weekend, man. I woke up at 1 o'clock, got brunch, French toast with my girls, $5 champagnes, went back to sleep, and then started talking about Chads.
And then had an Arab shit on your chest?
Well, that's next weekend, before I go back to college, okay?
Right. You got to find yourself first.
In a sociology class, I'm finding myself. Realizing it's all the men that are around me that built this great country, so I can wake up at 12 o'clock in a $300 down comforter and go get debauched in some brunch cafe.
And take pictures of it and video and put it on Instagram.
You're jealous. You envy this, asshole.
Somebody posted on Facebook earlier this week of just like talking about women that travel all over the world but don't have a fucking job and how do they do it. Well, we know how they do it.
Well,
exactly.
In my case, Daddy's buying me a new BMW because I got my second Dewey.
I love. Oh, speaking of Instagram, let me just kind of tell a little story. We got a few things to talk about before we get into the main topic tonight, guys, listeners. But speaking of Instagram, I found Mercedes Carrera on Instagram. I tried very hard to get in touch with her on Twitter before they banned me for life. And I'm still banned for life from Twitter. And so I got in contact with her on Instagram because, I thought, oh, here she is. Maybe I can reach out to her on Instagram. So I found her on Instagram, and her name is on Instagram. If you guys want to follow her, go right ahead. Her name is Codename MILF, and it's all one word. I don't know how old she is, but she considers herself a MILF. So, but she's still doing porn. She's still doing risque Instagram pictures and whatever. And so I made a comment on one of her photos, and I said, "You can only be a MILF for so long." And she replied, "No, I'm a MILF for life." And one of her followers said, "She's the motherfucking MILF." And then I proceeded to be attacked by white knights calling me an incel and a pedophile. So, I don't know. I doubt our chances of getting her on are pretty good, man. I doubt they're any good. Oh, by the way, we got MGTOW Warriors in. Good to see you, brother. On Warrior, I did see you on Esme's show. I saw you in there. Thanks for checking that out. Cartoons is in, and Rico's in. We got all our moderators in.
And Warrior, I reached out to MGTOW Value, so hopefully me and Aim will get to talk with him hopefully soon.
That's right. MGTOW Value has spoken to Lamprey, so hopefully we can get him on again soon.
Another great channel.
Yeah, that's one I'm not that familiar with, so I'm going to have to familiarize myself with it. Now, did you have? You said you had something you wanted to talk about before we get into the.
Well, I mean, the Chargers got decimated by the Patriots today, and Tom Brady's going to his 8th consecutive conference game. Unbelievable! What a sad division that truly is, with the Jets and the Dolphins. Oh my God! And the Bills, just horrible teams, and the Patriots just run amok for almost over a decade now. And well, you know, the gynocentrism, the cultural Marxism, the feminism, it's all pervasive. Okay, it's stage 4 cancer. If you know, if you want to classify as that, give it a good analogy.
Is stage 4 like brink of death?
Yeah, pretty much. I would say we're at brink of death points in the West with this stuff, because now they have a female referee in the NFL.
Yeah, you sent me that article just recently, and I heard about it, but I'm not a big football fan, so I didn't pay that much attention to it. But
Well, should you? You're better off not paying attention. You're better off not paying attention to it. Quite honest, speaking honestly.
Well, I'm more of a baseball fan, and the MLB doesn't have female umpires yet.
2020.
2020, it's gonna come. So, do you want me to kind of I'll just read the short article to the listeners, and then you can comment on it. So this is from the ESPN website. Sarah Thomas, that's her name, makes history as first female on-field playoff game official. Sarah Thomas is the first woman to work an NFL playoff game as this is a playoff game?
Yes.
Thomas was the down judge in Sunday's divisional round game between New England and the Los Angeles Chargers. That's a first, according to the league's Twitter account. I'm sure everybody in the world knows that's a first. Thomas was hired in 2015 and was already the league's first female full-time official. Terry Valenti was the replay official in Saturday's playoff game between the Kansas City Chiefs and Indianapolis Colts. Also a first. I mean, what do you think of that, Lamprey?
This has been ongoing since the whole Colin Kaepernick thing. For all those who don't know, Colin Kaepernick is a washed-up quarterback. He made it to the Super Bowl and lost when he was with the 49ers, playing the Ravens. That was 2013. All he could do is really just run around, scramble. He had poor accuracy, and no one wanted him because he just wasn't that good. I mean, then because no one wanted him, he pulled, obviously he pulled a race card, even though he was raised by white parents, okay, and he's biracial, doesn't know who his family are, so that's important, doesn't know who his father is. We've discussed these problems, coming from a fatherless home. So yeah, he didn't know who his parents were, and obviously he has some type of resentment, or he's hurt by that. He's looking for attention, and the far left hijacked that to use that as part of a pincer to feminize the NFL. Okay, and ratings plummeted. The NFL has gone through quite a bit lately. There's no more tackling. There's more rules. You pretty much can't be masculine. That's basically what this is about, because it's an attack on masculinity. The NFL is very masculine. It also promotes a collective of men trying to achieve something, to win, to be number one. So it's a bunch of men being camaraderie, coming together, being loyal to the team, being loyal to the fans, getting out there even though you sprain your ankle, still working through it because this is a team oriented thing, unlike basketball where it's more about look at me, showboating, tattoos. It's more about the all star. It's all about one player in the NBA versus the NFL. So last year there was a Me Too moment with the Redskins, where the cheerleaders were sexually harassed because of Dean Snyder, who is the owner, who is against the whole Marxist agenda. Dean Snyder is the GM and the owner of the Washington Redskins, and he refuses to change the name of the team because the team is called Redskins, and that's obviously derogatory and hurtful to cabin boys people, right?
who don't actually care.
Who don't care and probably actually like it because it represents, a fighting spirit. Never forget that most of the U.S. military equipment is named after tribes and people, and things that Native Americans used in warfare. So Snyder is completely against it. He's absolutely not. The United States government removed his copyrights and patents off anything with the Redskins to punish him. Can you believe that?
Wow.
The government is punishing a privately owned business in the NFL, and he refuses to give up Snyder. He is a great man fighting against the oligarchs, and he is a man who made his way up. He made his first million from his college room, from his bedroom on his bed with a laptop. He made his first million. So he's a guy who worked really hard to get to where he is, and so that's basically what has happened. So you have a Me Too moment with the Redskins saying that they did stuff. They were sexually harassed by business guys and the football players, yada, yada, yada. So they use that as a way to infiltrate the NFL.
Well, they're infiltrating all sports now, including, the Cleveland Indians are going to change their logo. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're changing their logo. It can't be that Indian face anymore. And it's interesting you brought this up tonight because for some reason, some nights I just kind of go through YouTube and I find my interests and I kind of get on a kick and I watch a lot of stuff. It might not even be related to this channel and its content. It's just something I'm interested in. And I've always been interested in professional wrestling since I was a kid. I grew up in Southern Alberta. The Hart family is just up in Calgary. It's just something that was always a part of my psyche as well growing up. So every once in a while, I kind of kick back and want to look at it. And I get nostalgic. And I want to watch some of the old stuff. And I found a really interesting channel called WrestleLamia. And it has this great content that talks about sort of a lot of the, I don't know what's the word, not conspiracies, but just a lot of the stuff that happened throughout the years within professional wrestling. And the characters and the business of it all. And it's funny you bring up this female referee because 10, 15 years ago, the now WWE, had the first female wrestler who actually fought and competed in matches with men. And that was like 15 years ago. And you had this roided out woman. Her name was China.
Oh, she was great.
Yeah. And I think, professional wrestling was ahead of the game, man. They knew where it was going.
Yeah. But I never thought of China in that regard. I always just thought of it as this butch nut job, which she was.
She was,
and
yeah.
She had a rough life too. She passed away.
Yeah, she had a very rough life. I mean, she ended up doing porn after her professional wrestling career. But the point I'm making is that it just seems that in that kind of sports entertainment, that faux sports of wrestling, they're kind of if you want to see what's up ahead for the rest of the sports industry, then look at what they've done.
Further.
Yeah.
Yeah, look further than the WWE for sure.
Yeah. Because that was the first woman to wrestle with men. And regardless of how strong China was, she obviously in a fair fight, in a real fight, she couldn't compete with men. But this is the WWE, right? I mean, so it's a show, it's a circus act. So they're sort of paving the way for what we're now seeing as is happening in the NFL, and I'm sure is going to continue to happen in other sports. Rico says China made a sex tape. I don't think it was with Triple H, but she did make a sex tape. And she wasn't the sex tape she made was a personal thing, but she actually did do porn. She played She-Hulk in a porn film. She painted her whole body green. I haven't seen it. One of these days I'm going to have to try and find it. But she played She-Hulk in some Avengers porn, and that's definitely something I'm going to have to look up. Rico also says her blank is huge. Her what is huge? Her ass? Her tits? Her nose? Her vagina? What is huge, Rico?
Well, she obviously didn't really. She didn't. She had definitely self-esteem issues.
Her clit. That's because she's taking steroids, man. It was turning her clit into a penis.
She looked like an animal.
Yeah, in her heyday. If you watch her, once she started getting into professional porn, and I saw this all from this documentary from this channel called WrestleLamia. It's great. They have this thing called Behind the Trinitron, and it's sort of these exposés about all these characters in professional wrestling. It's fantastic, and they go into detail about her porn career. She looked horrible later on. She looked absolutely horrible.
Did you ever watch any of her interviews?
I haven't seen any of her shoots, no, but I probably will.
You know what? We're listening to her have a conversation. You think she was the coolest chick ever. It's really sad.
Yeah, she had a very horrible life. But I mean, a lot of wrestlers did in the end. That's a strange.
Yep.
A lot of athletes do.
They're all dead, man.
Yeah.
British Bulldog's dead. There's that one sticks out to me because I really like British Bulldog.
Well,
Owen Hart, obviously.
The Anvil just died. He died last year, December last year.
Vader died a couple of weeks ago.
Vader died. No, they all die very, very young. Very, very young. We got Mormon MGTOW. I don't recognize that name.
That's a new one.
That's a new one. Happy Chem Clouds. Hey, Mormon MGTOW, are you really a Mormon? Yeah, I did see Joe Rogan interview Jake the Snake, and it's incredible that man is still alive. Like Jake the Snake, he should have been the first to die, but he's still alive. I saw that guy wrestle live in Calgary. I saw him wrestle live against Kamala. It was incredible. Anyway, we should get into the meat of our episode, because today we're not talking about professional wrestling or sports. Our main
no talk of thoughts either.
What's that?
No talking of thoughts either tonight, boys.
No thoughts or MILFs. No thoughts or MILFs. Today we're going to talk about chemtrails, and this is a topic that Lamprey and I have tossed it around like we should talk about it, but neither of us are really experts on the subject. But it's something that I think is worthy of conversation and worthy of a topic for the show, and it's something that I personally have experienced quite a bit, especially living in southern Alberta, because southern Alberta, the skies are huge. It's like I think Montana's logo is like Big Sky, Montana.
Yep.
Yeah. So and we're right north of Montana. There's lots of sky. So it's a phenomenon that I myself personally have seen a lot, and I think I became aware of it probably at the turn of the millennium, when I moved back to southern Alberta from the west coast. It started to become a catchphrase. It became something and of course the internet's getting bigger at that time. People are exchanging information, and suddenly, everybody's looking up. Everybody that wants to, they're looking up at the sky and they're wondering, what the hell is this? So I have personal experience with it, and I don't know how many of our listeners, I don't know, even understand what it is or have experienced it or believe it, or is it just a crazy conspiracy theory? However, my first real experience with it, and I think, Lamprey, I'll tell a short story about when I first moved back to Southern Alberta, and then I'll let you go into some of the stuff that you've been researching, okay?
All right.
And how you came actually to know the name chemtrails. So, for myself, I think it would have been about 2001. I had moved back to Southern Alberta. I was at it, and my brothers, all my brothers are very into conspiracy, all sorts of conspiracy. So I didn't hear the end of chemtrails. So one day, after I'd been back in Southern Alberta for a few months, it was a beautiful summer day, clear skies, and I'm at my father's house, and we're having a barbecue in the backyard, drinking some beer, and I'm looking up at the sky, and I see these planes going over. One goes over, and then another goes over, and then another, and then another. And within about 2 hours, I started counting them. I counted over 30 planes in 2 hours. Flew over the town I was living in. And each plane, as it flew over, was dragging behind it this stream of smoke that left a trail across the sky from horizon to horizon. And they created this just pattern of lines across the sky. And then the trail of smoke that was coming out of the plane would disperse. It didn't disappear. It would slowly disperse and kind of create this layer of thin, wispy smoke that almost looked like cirrus clouds. And it just took over the whole sky from horizon to horizon. Now, I had already known about chemtrails at this point, so what I did was, now this is 2001, so this is before, you could go on Google. I think this is long before you could go on Google and track down a phone number to call or an email, or a website to contact. So what I did was I phoned the local airport. I went in my phone book, I looked up the airport traffic control, and I phoned them. And I managed to get through, which you probably couldn't do today. I'm sure you could not do this today. But I managed to get through to the somebody working for the air traffic control in the local airport of my city. And it's a small Southern Alberta city, so it's a very small airport. It's a local airport. It just flies to other airports. It's not an international airport. It's a very small airport. And I managed to get him on the phone. And I said to the guy, I said to the guy, I want to ask you a few questions. I've been sitting outside of my backyard looking at the sky for the last 2 hours. And I've seen no less than 30 planes fly over in that period of time. I said, can you explain to me, is this normal? Like, what am I seeing? You're air traffic control. Is this normal? And he goes, well, no, we don't deal with that much traffic. You might have to call up to Calgary or down into Montana or a bigger city to find out if that's normal, because we don't deal with that much traffic. And I'm like, well, but you don't know about it? I mean, shouldn't you know? Shouldn't an air traffic controller know what air traffic is in his airspace? But he didn't know. And I said, well, how come you don't, I said, have you ever seen this before? And this air traffic controller said to me over the phone, he said, actually, I don't look up that much. And that was it. That was the conversation. So that was my first kind of personal experience with it. And I see that Mormon MGTOW's from Texas. Texas has big skies too. very big skies. So a lot easier to see under those circumstances. I know, Lamprey, you live in New York. Nobody looks up in New York.
Too busy.
They're too busy. They're too busy, and there's no sky, man. There's no fucking sky. I mean, it's the same when I mean, the story I just told you happened in like 2001. It was a year later I moved to Indonesia, and I lived in Jakarta for 13 years. Jakarta is like New York. There's no sky. A lot more pollution.
Well, there's soot. Yeah, there's soot and burning charcoal and rubber.
Yeah, you can't see the fucking sky.
Horrible. The pollution, noise and air pollution. The air quality is horrible in Jakarta.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Do you know when I was flying my first time? No, I'm sorry. This is when I was on my way to live in Cambodia. My plane got deferred for like a full day. I had to sleep in the airport because of the air pollution coming from Indonesia. It was covering the airport in Singapore.
Yeah. Singapore, Malaysia. It's all coming from Kalimantan, because they torch the forests.
Yeah, they torch the forests. Yeah, just this cloud of smoke covering countries.
Yes. So there's no way you're gonna see the sky in Jakarta, man. Like, because honestly, this is the thing about chemtrails is I don't know if it's a worldwide phenomenon. I really don't, because I've only really seen it, and I can say for myself that I've experienced it from being in North America. Outside of North America, I've never experienced it, right? And I don't really know that much about the phenomenon to be able to say definitely that it's happening in one country and another. I don't know.
Not like feminism.
Yeah, no, feminism, no. That's a different story. Feminism, you can see even if it's polluted. You can still see it. But anyway, that was my first experience, and when I finally came back 2 years ago to Canada, lo and behold, I see it again, and I made some video clips of it that we will share with the listeners in a moment. But why don't you now share with us about how you came to understand it?
I know nothing about it, to be quite honest with you. That's one reason why it was not high on the priority list for us to cover, because I know so little about it. And when you sent me that video over the summer, I was like, we have to cover this. I mean, this is necessary, because I never seen anything like this, guys. What AM's going to show us tonight, I've heard about it. There's all these blogs and forums that haven't been updated in like 10 years talking about chemtrails, and I started researching a lot about it tonight, and I revisited topics that I heard about many years ago about the concept of DARPA. I heard about these things, but I never gave two shits, to be honest with you, because my expertise are in other areas, and I might as well keep fine tuning what I know a lot about, instead of covering something I know absolutely nothing about, and to relearn a whole new topic, and to at least give you guys the correct information. I try really hard. I plan a week in advance to try to find information that not many people know about certain topics. But chemtrails, only a handful of things. I first heard about chemtrails was during the tsunami, 2011. That's where I learned about HAARP. And then it was the 2011 tsunami happened. My brother started researching the concept of chemtrails, and then David Icke mentioned Operation Cumulus, Project Cumulus. It blew my mind away. Really, was just jaw dropping. And I know a little bit about the whole concept of using aluminum in the air and what that can do for what it just does with the weather, what it does to people if you have aluminum in the air, molecules of it. So that's basically what I learned and what I know about it coming into tonight.
Well, it's interesting you learned about it after the tsunami, because some of our listeners, Frildo Mohammed, says geoengineering, and that's kind of the word that we're thinking of, geoengineering. And we're going to get into that a little bit about how they have been manipulating weather as one aspect of geoengineering for a long, long time with very, very simple technology. It's not that far-fetched to think that that's what's happening. Mormon MGTOW says you don't think it's worldwide. No. I believe it's worldwide. I've just never witnessed it anywhere else personally except here in Canada.
And what are you looking for exactly? The only thing you can really look for is a airplane that speeds off into the sky and its vapor trail is left behind. But Am, let me ask you this, okay? When you live in Alberta, it's really cold. You step outside, you breathe out, correct?
Yes.
You breathe out and you see your breath, right?
Mm-hmm.
Carbon dioxide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's supposed to be the same thing with an airplane. You don't walk away from where you breathe and the carbon dioxide is still there, correct?
Yes.
It's not behind you. If you breathe out and keep walking, there's not a huge, trail of vapor behind you, right?
Yes.
So why does an airplane have it?
Well, that's the whole point. Is that was another thing that in the beginning when it came to me. I just shared the screen with you, Lamprey. So when I play the videos, you'll be able to see them and hear them. But the one thing that came to my attention when I first witnessed, like really spent hours watching it happen, I realized, because another thing that they were saying, again, over a decade and a half ago, a lot of the times it was starting to become more popular. People were talking about it. And
yes, I remember that. Again, that's what I just mentioned before. Like if you try to find websites dedicated to geoengineering, you're going to see everything's really old, really old material.
Yes. And that's when it really started coming out, right? This is like kind of like the dawn of the internet. This is about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it started to become part of the consciousness of the plebs, of us, And the one thing that was always, I remember hearing, was always kind of the official statement of an explanation was, oh, well, that's just contrails. That's just contrails, trails of condensation, hot air meeting the cold air from a plane. And my first thought was, yeah, but when I was a kid, I saw contrails, and they didn't fucking do what this is doing. Like this is not the same thing. So I basically, I'll show you the videos, and I even say it in the videos that it's not a contrail. A contrail is hot air meeting cold air. It's when you breathe out when you breathe your hot air into the cold air, and you see the smoke coming from your mouth. That's condensation. Or you breathe on a cold window, and it forms water vapor onto the window. But this is something completely different. It's completely different. I'll get into the videos. Rialdo Muhammad says they admit it, but they also deny it. You're absolutely right. They have to ride the fence now, and I think it's because the coming of the internet, the dawn of the internet, sort of brought in people that, it just said, everybody look up, and everybody started looking up, and then they saw it, and then they couldn't deny it. Then they had to.
Right, exactly. You're not hiding that one.
Exactly. So now.
Everyone that lives on land can see this.
Yes, exactly. So they got to fucking come up with some bullshit excuse, always, So I'll share some videos I took in, God, when was it? Like September?
Yeah, I think it was like August, September, something like
September.
that.
August, September, I took some videos, but just to show you guys that this is what happens. This is what you see. I will give me a second. I'll share the screen.
This was a big eye opener for me.
All right, here we go. Make sure the volume's up. That is not a contrail. has a plume of smoke coming out of something that we can't see from here this distance. And the one above it is the same pattern. It starts as a trail of smoke, and then it drifts into a sort of wispy cloud. Now watch this plane continue to drift across that. That is not a contrail. Contrail is short for condensation trail, which means cold air meeting hot air. In other words, the cold air of the atmosphere, of the altitude of the plane flying, meets the hot air from the engine. And that dissipates very quickly. But what we're seeing here is a trail continuing across that plane that you can see. Started over there, now it is here.
It's a plane?
And it will continue. And the trail above it oh, it's a plane,
Oh,
is the exact same. You can see where it was shut off. Right about there. This plane I can't really see. And that trail will continue at its altitude in the distance from where I am. And that smoke, I call it smoke because it looks like smoke. But it is a trail of something. Will continue through the sky.
Yeah, it smears the sky.
And will make more. And it becomes this sort of wispy cloud. Yeah. Just like that one trail. That's one.
They like nice clean days. He's right, this guy.
There's a second one.
These guys know a lot about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see up here, this eventually becomes this. And it turns into this, it just expands and expands. It's at some kind of density, whatever particulates they're dropping into the air. And it has to be some kind of particulate because it's visible. It expands and sort of floats at that altitude. And I'll tell you, these planes, they don't fly that high. They fly lower than commercial jets, usually, that I've seen. Usually when a commercial jet flies at about 35,000 feet, they're almost invisible to the eye. This plane in particular that I was filming at this moment, I couldn't see it from where I was, so it might have been a little higher. But I'll show some more videos where you can clearly see the planes and what they look like. But the smoke does eventually expand into this. It just keeps coming out. And whatever they're spraying, the density of it matches very well with the density of the atmosphere at the altitude that they're spraying it. Because the way that our atmosphere works is that obviously this has everything to do with the science of density. The heavier air falls to the bottom, the lighter air floats. So at the bottom we have oxygen, nitrogen. At the top we have argon and helium. Right? These are different densities of gases. And so even if you look above the house, you can see how it's white, kind of white here. And up at the top it's very, very blue. And that's because when you look horizontally over the horizon, it's thicker. The density of the air around you is much thicker, so you're going to see more of it. Anyway, I'll just kind of skip through some of this here. Hold on. See. And I don't know if those were made by the same phenomenon because I wasn't here to witness it. But as we witness this now, this is not a contrail. Remember, we started over here, around here.
Can they hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I can't see the plane.
You can hear water dripping. It's probably from my video.
And those puffs of smoke will turn in to what you see above it.
Yeah.
This wispy trail, this cloud.
Yeah, so basically, this was the first video I took, and I spent about 45 minutes just filming stuff. And in the first video, I just wanted to point out that what you're witnessing here with this line eventually becomes this line. Okay?
Do you have the one where you're on the football field?
I don't have that one. I don't know where it is.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
That was a really good one.
That was a good one because it had a whole crisscross pattern. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know where I put it, and I couldn't cue it up before the show. So I'll just stop sharing the screen for a minute here. All right. So that's the first one. I've got a few more, and we'll skim through them. Let's see what everybody's saying here. They like nice clear days. Agreed. Nice blue turns into a muddy color. Yeah, it basically. I'll show a few more videos, but you're right. It turns into this mist that covers the entire perspective of your view of where you're looking. You can see it from horizon to horizon. It's very, very bizarre, and it doesn't disappear right away. It just mingles into this dust. And whether or not these particulates are dangerous, I mean, for the love of God, if you can see that people are spraying shit in the sky above you, I think one of your main concerns would be like, how is that going to affect me? I got to breathe, right? And that's really what people think. So I'll queue up the next video. They're very similar, but I do want to share them with you guys.
Well, let them play. We'll talk.
Yeah. I'll get the next one queued up here. Okay, now.
Well, have you ever experienced any odd weather where you live as of, the past? Since you've been alive, has it been still the regular seasons for the most part?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And that's a good point. One of the again, I've been away for a long time, so I'm not the best person to ask how the weather has changed kind of continuously. But I will tell you this, is that before I left, what I did notice is that the warm and cold seasons were shifting slightly, whereas winter used to come. Do you know the temperature right now here is it's above zero, man.
Which isn't normal.
No, it's January.
Okay, I'm standing outside in a sweatshirt right now, and it's January.
Yeah, I mean the last few days, during the daytime, it was fucking 10 to 12 degrees above zero. That's Celsius. I can't convert that. I don't know the Fahrenheit. But that's very unusual for January. However, last winter was a lot colder. But one thing I have noticed that's been consistent over the last decade is that it's almost like the winter seasons have been pushed farther back into the year.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is that when I was growing up, Halloween was cold. And it was cold all the way through February. Now, it doesn't get cold until December. And if it does get cold in December, it stays cold until March. It's almost as if the seasons are like being shifted like a column.
Push.
Yes. It's very bizarre.
And I'm experiencing the same exact thing where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. So
I mean, like I said, I'm outside right now in a sweatshirt. It's the middle of January. That's unheard of. It has not snowed yet. Yeah. The last time it snowed, a little bit strange. I actually brought the attention of my stepbrothers. I go, guys, look outside at this snow. It's like aqua blue. And they're like, yeah, it's really strange. It's aqua blue, and it melted so fast the following day. I've never seen anything like it. So that was the last time it snowed. It was very, very intriguing and strange.
Yeah, it's bizarre. And there was, when I was away in Indonesia, there was a weather phenomenon. I wish I should have researched this a little bit before we came on the show, but from memory, it was they've made excuses for it. But what happened was it downpoured. It was like the sky opened up and just pissed on the city. I mean, that never happens.
For how long? How long was the rain for?
It was for maybe 30 minutes. It wasn't long, but it was the strangest downpour. I've never seen it here before. It was just like somebody turned on a faucet It was very bizarre. I wasn't here when it happened, so I can't, I can't give you too much information on it. I just remember it happening and hearing about it. So yeah, strange weather phenomenon. I'll play the next one. Sec here. Again, this is mostly just kind of the same stuff, but just share it with you guys. Okay, now the top cloud, the top wisp is gone. And the one we were just looking at is turned into that. Now watch that. That's not a that's not a contrail, man. Condensation doesn't turn into wisps of smoke. Now, if you look. So here you see on the, this is what it becomes. This is how it starts. And if you look at the horizon, how white it is, right? This is what, when you look straight up, you're looking through thinner atmosphere because the atmosphere gets thinner as you go up. But when you look straight to the horizon, the atmosphere is very thick. So you're going to see what this is. When you're looking off to the horizon, what you see here, where I'm standing now, everybody that's way over there on that part of the horizon, this is what they see over here. The entire atmosphere from horizon to horizon becomes this cloud. It's really bizarre. Really, really bizarre. Let's skip through here.
Go with the plane going through.
Okay, yeah, I got another one coming up here. Okay, so hold on a second, guys. I'll get the plane one coming up.
Look how thick that is.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I think this one has... Okay, now... Give me a second. There's the side of my house. All the way going across the sky. All right, let's just see what this one is here. Hold on. I only have like 5 of these. There's another one going across the sky. I don't know if you can see. It goes from there. There's the side of my house. All the way there. It's another one. All right, so there's your cirrus clouds. There you might be able to see. I think the one. There's the plane somewhere. Watch it disperse. It keeps going. Yeah, and that's the dispersion of it, and it'll spread out. This will continue to spread out and become that. Yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but that is what it becomes. And that's the people that tell you that the chemtrails don't exist. And of course the word chemtrails is just it's just a boogeyman now, but people that don't believe it, you can show them footage like this. You know, it exists. Thousands of people have shot this footage. They can't explain it after that. You have to go into cognitive dissonance.
No, it's a look over here, look over there. Don't talk about this. Watch your football. Shut up.
Yeah. Okay, here's actually an image of another plane going above. Here we go. There's another one going. I just showed you there's 2 planes. That's 4 planes you've seen in the last 15 fucking minutes. There it is. Watch this.
He's pretty up there, man.
Well, you can see the outline of the plane. At 35,000 feet, you can't see that. At 35,000 feet, it's a dot. It's barely visible to the eye. This plane is below 35,000 feet. This is not a commercial airliner. However, every single plane, and again, going back to the story I told before, when I was in my dad's backyard and I called the airport, every plane I saw go above me looked exactly like that. It was white. It was shaped like a commercial airliner, but it was visible. Its entire shape was visible, which means it was lower than 35,000 feet. It was lower than your average commercial airline flight. You can't see the full figure of a plane at 35,000 feet. It's way too high. So whatever that plane is, it looks like a commercial airliner jet. And to be honest, if you were, if you wanted to paint the sky with this smoke, of course you'd want your plane to look like a commercial airliner. You'd want it to look like the planes that people see every day.
Well, why not just have the technology,
How much air
the
traffic
chemtrails?
do you
What's the other term?
Geoengineering.
Geoengineering. Why not just have a contraption on a commercial jetliner, and people fly on the airplane regardless? I mean, no one's gonna know.
There you go. Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. They could do that, but the thing is these are way too low for commercial airliners. I mean, I would accept it if it was once in a while they were that low, but it's almost every single plane they're much lower than 35,000 feet. They're not.
Well, how far? What's the closest international airport by you?
Calgary.
And how many hours by car is that?
2.5 hours. It's 280 kilometers.
All right, so maybe they didn't get up to the 30,000, 40,000 mark.
Well, this plane's heading towards oh no, actually no, it's heading. You're right. That one could be heading south of Calgary. You're right.
But regardless, I understand where you're going with this. But let's think of the average layman, the guy that's fueling the jumbo jet. Do you really think he's going to question what's inside when he's fueling it? He's just going to assume it's the same thing it's always been. So why not bring in, just once in a blue moon, someone slips in something completely different?
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely a possibility. Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. Here's another way of looking at it. Why are there so many Air Force bases in all states in the United States? So I just looked up the closest Air Force base to where AM lives, and there's the Great Falls, United States Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Not that far away.
Yeah.
Is it really necessary to have this many Air Force bases inside the country? I can understand on the coast. We can definitely understand when they're, the international Air Force base that the United States have, right? But why do you need one in Montana? Is Canada going to invade? What's the relationship between the FAA and Canada's FAA? I'm sure there's no rules, there's no barriers for the United States commercial jets to fly over Canadian airspace versus and Canadians flying over the United States airspace. There's probably no rules, so they don't check each other. It's just the the guy in the control tower more or less just dictating everything. It's not like he's flying over Lethbridge and saying you are entering Canada's Air Force Base. You need to back. Not going to shoot it out of the sky like the Russians did.
Exactly.
Russians always find an excuse to blow airplanes out of the sky.
Well, this is the thing too. Is like an air traffic controller in a small town like this. He's paid to look down at a screen. He's not paid to look up in the sky.
Oh, yeah.
And that screen tells him what to look at and what to pay attention to and how to respond. The video now, if you look at the video I'm showing you, there's the plane that you were looking at before was going from north to south. This plane is now going from east to west.
How many planes is that we've seen?
Now, if I zoom in,
minutes, maybe 7 or 8.
Now this one you can also see. So it's around. This one looks a little higher, possibly altitude, but again, it's spraying.
I can see the plane from
spraying
here.
out.
That one's low. Watch the plume behind that.
But again, right one after the other, over a small southern Alberta town. You see one commercial airline looking plane going from north to south. A minute later, another going east to west. A minute later, another going south to north, and so on and so forth. It's really bizarre, and it's something that you can't ignore that shit, man. Wait a second. Let's see who's talking here.
Hit the likes, boys. Come on.
Is that ad button still playing? All right, let me see who's talking here in the chats. Okay, Slaughterhouse timed out Muhammad. Don't know why, but I trust you guys to do your job. Mormon MGTOW, aqua blue snow. Is that the flammable stuff? I don't know. Is it? Did you try to light it on fire?
I didn't try lighting it on fire. I never even thought of lighting snow on fire. Fucking God. So they say it's aluminum, which is not, it's not good. Aluminum is really bad. AM, do you use antiperspirant or do you use regular deodorant?
I use regular deodorant when I need it.
What do you have right now? Do you have an antiperspirant or do you have a deodorant?
I have a deodorant right now.
You have a deodorant. Okay. Never use antiperspirant deodorant. Never ever use it. If you have it, and guys that are listening, throw it in the garbage and just use regular deodorant.
And
okay?
Why?
Because its number one ingredient is aluminum.
Yeah, aluminum. Heavy metals are very dangerous to the human body, obviously.
But aluminum is man-made also.
Aluminum.
It's not natural. I don't think aluminum is natural.
I think it's on the periodic scale, isn't it? It's an element.
It is?
Yeah, aluminum's an element. It's an element, I'm pretty sure. One of the things I wanted to mention, too, we're going to get into some of the articles that we've got sourced here about the phenomenon.
Well, it is. You're right. But aluminum, okay, here's the thing with aluminum. It causes dementia and Alzheimer's. Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay, so Alzheimer's and dementia are like at an all-time high in North America. Can you please show me or tell me of another country that has this high rate of Alzheimer's and dementia?
Not that I know of, no.
Right, exactly. That's the point I'm trying to make. So when you smear aluminum on the most porous part of your body, which is your armpit, that's going into your body. That's going into your bloodstream. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
And if regardless of people using, antiperspirant deodorant, aluminum is everywhere. Okay. And we don't seem to realize that we use these things in our daily lives. I mean, plastic is a petroleum-based substance. Yeah. Okay. Plastic's only been used, okay, for only the past 50 years.
Yes.
It's brand new to the world. Brand new. We do not know the long-term ramifications of using these things day in and day out versus just, a clay jar like a Native American. Okay? So, so going back to aluminum, if they're spraying this stuff into the air and we're breathing that in, and you take a look at the rise in cancer, again, the rise in dementia, rise in Alzheimer's, to say there's not a correlation, I think that it's something to be looked at.
No, absolutely, and that's one of the things that people talk about as far as what is involved in these particulates. And when I say particulates, I mean very fine particles of something, and that's obvious through observation. If something can float and disperse in the upper atmosphere, then it can be visible. Then it's a particulate, and if its density depends on where it was dispersed, how far it falls and how far it disperses. So whatever kind of particulates they're putting into the air, a lot of people that I've seen in the past, people talk about aluminum and a number of other like soft and heavy metals, okay, that make up this so-called chemtrail spraying. Now, I don't know a lot about it, but if you want to go back if you want to go back to the concept of spraying shit in the air, you can go back to the concept of cloud seeding. All right? And cloud seeding is old. It's been around for a long time. It's a type of weather modification. I'll read it from the Wikipedia. Cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that aims to change the amount or type of precipitation that falls from clouds by dispersing substances into the air that serve as cloud condensation or ice nuclei, which alter the microphysical process within the cloud. The usual intent is to increase the precipitation, which is rain or snow, but hail and fog suppression are also widely practiced in airports where harsh weather conditions are experienced. Okay, so the concept of cloud seeding is dropping particulates into clouds. And this shit is old, man. It's been going on for a long, long time. So if this shit's been going on, what else could be possibly going on?
Well, when I was trying to research it, naturally, when I found a convincing lecture or conversation, naturally YouTube linked the Wikipedia page to chemtrails onto the YouTube video, and of course, Wikipedia is going to give you the mainstream narrative on what a chemtrail is.
Of course they will. You know, that's absolutely what they'll do.
And we covered that last week in regards to Google's censorship when it comes to certain topics.
Well, yeah, you're not going to find the truth on Google. You got to really look hard. Here's a little bit of the history of cloud seeding. Louis Gothman in 1891. This is how old this idea is. All right, so before you think that, you know, it's some kind of out of left field conspiracy. In 1891, suggested shooting liquid carbon dioxide into rain clouds to cause them to rain. During the 1930s, the Bergeron-Findeisen process theorized that supercooled water droplets present while ice crystals are released into rain clouds would cause rain. So this is the idea of modifying the weather or just the environment. I don't want to say, and again, this goes back to geoengineering. We're not just talking about the weather. We're talking about altering the environment through chemical means. And this has been going, and the ideas were hatched before the turn of the 20th century. So we can imagine what might be going on right now.
Well, it's been going on actually after World War II. I mean, after World War II was just a plethora of military experiments and ingenuity for the military-industrial complex, and the Soviet Union had their own thing going on. So yeah, if you have it, why don't you pull up Project Cumulus?
Cumulus, yeah, I'm gonna open it right now. Project Cumulus.
And the BBC blew the cover on this years later in 2001. Obviously, too late. I mean, dozens of people were killed because of this. And even when that happened, everyone thought the government and the military was up to something.
So, I've got it up on the wiki page here. This is the 1950s UK government initiative to investigate weather manipulation, in particular through cloud seeding. Again, is what the wiki says. Now, can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, basically, it was just a science experiment gone wrong. 30-something people died. It was almost like a monsoon in England that took place, and I think a river overflooded and killed a lot of people. I found this out about through David Icke. So David Icke, does like an hour rant on chemtrails. And to be quite honest with you, I know you're not a big David Icke fan. I certainly am, because everything he's been discussing has been turning out to be right all along. I mean, the guy has not been proven wrong yet once. Okay.
Well, except for the reptoids.
Well, how do we know?
I don't know.
How do we know? Exactly, and that's where he gets that's where people get lost with him, and he's veered away from that. Uh, he's veered away from that, since he's become more popular, because he's realizing what I am stating and that all my research is proven out to be correct all along. He does a great Agenda 21. He 100% verifiable. Okay, everything he's discussing, there's tons and tons of PDF files, YouTube lectures, everything, government files on what he was stating about Agenda 21 being correct. And some people say that this geoengineering ties into Agenda 21. How? Because if we look at what's going on in California, okay, and I don't know about you, Am, but I saw those videos and those fires. Wow. I mean, I never seen anything like that, not even in the movies, what was going on in California. How many people died? A lot of people died, man. And I see on Best Score they do it. They upload all those horrible videos. But they did one where a guy's walking around his neighbor's property, and you see the fires and anything. And you see the bodies are just smoldering. The cars, you can't even recognize a car. I mean, it's pretty wild what's happening, and you see what California is going through politically, where it's just it's a one-party state at this point, and it says a lot. It could be this form of weather control can be a way to get people to mass migrate. Okay,
Yeah.
because you have a mass migration, get people off their lands, which is Agenda 21. The key is getting people out of their homes. That is Agenda 21's mudsill. That's the foundation of it. You can bring feminism into Agenda 21. You can bring a new world order where there's open borders, but at the fundamentals, the crux of Agenda 21 is mass migration, getting people off their lands, out of their homes. So with weather manipulation, if you cause a famine in a certain area, okay, the people are going to have to migrate off that land. Now, Am, you're saying that these videos are being taken place in Lethbridge, which is a rural part of Alberta, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if where you're living in is a rural area, we know Agenda 21 wants people out of the prairies, wants them out of the rural areas and bring them into the city centers where they can be brainwashed to sodomy and feminism, and they got to vote left, and there's immigrants on welfare. And meanwhile, you in the prairies, you're much more conservative because you don't bump into that many people. Everyone looks like you, right?
Yeah.
You're usually religious. Well, they don't want that. So the chances of them doing a chemtrail in a mega urban center, it's not happening. And if anyone's ever noticed, a lot of these weather manipulation stories, a lot of the crazy weather that we're experiencing, whether it's chemtrails or not, they're taking place in rural locations across North America.
No, I'd have to agree with you, man. I absolutely have to agree with you. And there was, like I said, like a few years back, when I was still in Jakarta, yeah, there was crazy weather that happened when I was not here to witness it. I had to relive it through people that posted it.
It's mythology to you.
Yeah, because I wasn't I wasn't there to see it, But you're absolutely right. And Agenda 21 is probably, I would say that the chemtrails are tied in 100% with Agenda 21. I'm not going to say I understand completely what the expected results of whatever they're spraying in the sky is. I don't really know.
We don't know. We're just guessing.
We have to guess. But you're right. It is affecting the agenda. It's affecting the agenda to a certain degree. The idea that there are particulates in the air is one thing. So you have to, as a rational human being, you have to say, wait a second, they're spraying shit in the sky above me, and I have no way to protest that. I didn't ask for that. I don't want it, but I'm witnessing it. Most people don't. They don't witness it. Most people go about their lives. They watch their football. They watch their WWE. They keep their heads.
Their Pop-Tarts.
They eat their Pop-Tarts. They keep their head to the ground. They don't look up. Right? So they don't really care. They're not prepared for what's going to happen. However, if you do happen to look up at the world that you live in, you're going to be a little confused and a little bit scared. You're going to be, why is this happening?
It's normal. It's progressive, AM. Have your son wear high heels. It's normal. Welcome.
Your child should force your child to love pink and ponies. Force your male child.
You're just a monkey having a nightmare, AM.
Yes, you're on a spinning ball, flying through the universe. You have no beginning. You're nothing. But
you're just an irrational trilobite.
You're an irrational trilobite. Go back to the water. Look, the point is that if you see it happening, if you see these chemtrails happening, then you have to go. There's a sense of helplessness, I have to say, because you didn't vote for it, right? And you have no idea what's happening. But you also know that it's man-made. It's not a natural disaster. It's not like a tsunami, you know, where you can go, Ya Allah, Ya Allah. You know, you can't.
Well, do you have the article about with Iran and how Iran and Ahmadinejad said that the famines in the south parts of Iran are caused by weather manipulation?
Yeah, I have it somewhere. Hold on, I'll find it.
This is fascinating. Now, guys, if you listen to Western Dogs Part 1 and 2, and we're going to reload Part 2 eventually. Part 2, we're going to reload that eventually. But if you watched the second part, and I hope you all have, Iran banned women from owning dogs because it's vulgar Western culture. Now, we all know that Iran is our enemy, according to the mainstream. We're supposed to hate Iran. Don't know why, but we have to hate them, okay? And they're the country that's pushing back on a lot of the cultural Marxism, basically, and the banks. Okay, so they stated that women should not be owning dogs because of the obvious, and you know, if you don't know the obvious, go back and watch our videos on Western women and dogs. And now they're claiming that we cause weather manipulation. If we look at what happened in Egypt, Libya, and Syria, the so-called Arab uprising, okay, most of these countries were experiencing some form of drought and famine. Okay, and my friend who I moved to Cambodia with, he was affiliated with the UN and a bunch of other, nonsense, like some non-for-profit or some type of community organization, blah blah blah. That's just came out of nowhere, where they hand each other awards they hand awards to each other. So he went to Dubai to give a speech on why the Syrian war took place, and he had to spin it stating that it was because of a drought, and everyone was mad that they couldn't grow their crops, and people weren't making money, and so they got radicalized that way. So is that true? I obviously don't believe that. Absolute bullshit. But hey. You never know. I mean, it's possible that the U.S. and not just the U.S. but Western
powers.
The powers, yeah, powers. What NATO, what they're trying to do is punish countries that don't go along with the agenda. What's one way of doing it is through weather manipulation.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff that you send me about kind of the concept of global weather manipulation and the powers that it has. I'll go through the article because I've got it up right now that people can see it. It says, cool. This is from 2012. Iran VP claims country's drought is part of West's weather war on Islamic Republic. The head of Iran's Cultural Heritage and Tourism Organization believes that in addition to economic sanctions, the West is launching another kind of soft war on the Islamic Republic. Speaking at a ceremony to introduce the nation's new meteorological department, Chief Hassan Mousavi said that he was suspicious about the drought in the southern part of the country. He went on to accuse the West as using technology to influence the nation's climate, saying sandstorms, droughts, and other extreme weather were the result of an unspecified method of war. Now, just to stop there and what you had just said leading up to this, Lamprey. A people gets climatized to their climate. They understand how it works. When it starts to change, then they have to kind of consider what's going on. And if it's tied into political motivations and technology, then you have to think about it, man.
Well, how about this, for instance? We'll try this, spin it this way. Human beings and races, ethnic groups, people of different skin pigmentation, hairiness, eye color, they've been on that land for thousands of years. So yourself, your body, your genes are climatized to the geographic location which you come from. So I'm Italian, so I can go into the sun without sunblock on, get dark, and not get sunburned. Relatively easy. It's not difficult for me versus someone who's Irish, okay, where it's dark all the time and they're pasty white and they don't get sunlight in Ireland because they're closer to the North Pole. Italians are from Mediterranean climate. You got the North African winds coming off the Mediterranean, hitting where I'm from. So, people look and adjust accordingly to where they're from. Now, people don't know this, is that, when England started this slavery, they first enslaved Scotsmen and sent them to North America to go pick cotton. And their bodies were not adjusted to the climate. They couldn't handle the heat. That's why they brought blacks over from Africa, because they're used to heat and working in heat without being exhausted as much versus people from other races and backgrounds.
Well, look, if weather manipulation is a reality, all right. And honestly, I can find very few reasons to think that it's not. In my experience, then it doesn't surprise me that these kind of things come up. It doesn't surprise me that people are saying, "Hey, wait a second, the U.S. is actually here for our poppies. They're not here to liberate us for democracy. They actually want our opium." I can believe that. And if they say, well, actually, they're manipulating the weather, and we have evidence for it, but I can believe that.
Absolutely. Now, look. So going back to what Ahmadinejad was saying, I mean, if we were to believe in climate change, and get this, digressing for a moment, why don't people that believe in climate change talk about the geoengineering?
Well,
how come they're silent on that?
Because it's a part of a conspiracy theory that you're not supposed to talk about.
But
obviously.
But if you were to believe, if you are such a diehard believer in climate change, you should be smart enough to research the topic of chemtrails and
yes.
You know what I mean? I don't see it being that difficult if you're that nuanced and intelligent. And yes, climate change is real. And I read a new article in the National Geographic about how women are oppressed because of the bad weather.
The polar bears are dying. They're dying.
Polar bears are dying. Because of the white male and his consumption patterns, and he just loves his pizza and nachos and beer. I mean, that's just disgusting. I mean, I'm gonna vomit right now. But if you're one of those people, if you're one of those people, great. So can you explain this whole thing that AM just showed us tonight, please?
Yes.
No, they don't want to talk about that. No.
Well, I actually wanted to say that earlier, is that when it comes to people that are concerned about climate change, wouldn't that evidence I showed you, and that's readily available to anybody that wants to research it, wouldn't that be a talking point? Like, why you're spraying shit all over the sky?
Right.
That's going to affect the climate somehow.
I know.
Don't you want to talk about that shit? No, you just want to talk about the guy that has a fucking 9-to-5 job that makes enough money to pay his taxes and rent and his children. And the fact that he has to drive his own car to work, that's what's killing the climate. Really? Give me a fucking break, man. These people are twisted. Well, this is the thing. I don't associate with anybody at this point in my life that believes that climate change is some kind of real fanatical thing that needs to be dealt with and dealt with on a universal political scale of the planet. I don't know anybody.
If I wanted to bring this up, I can't believe I didn't mention it when we had the Darwinists on. There's some basic things too. There's one basic thing that just shuts everybody up when I mention it. AM, why do animals sleep? Why do animals sleep? Why do we sleep?
Well, we sleep because if we don't, we'll die.
Well, why?
Yeah.
Do you understand where I'm going with this? You don't know.
You don't know.
No one knows.
Nobody knows.
No one knows why we sleep. There's theories, there's ideas, but the thing that consumes half your life, no one has an answer for.
No.
But we're billions of years old,
Yeah.
and climate change is real. But you cannot tell me what consumes half my life.
8 hours of your life. 8 hours every day of your life.
Every day of your life is taken by 8 hours.
Yeah.
And no one knows why. There's ideas, there's theories, but there's no evidence on why animals sleep. None whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's required. We'll die without it, but we have no idea why. We know why we have to eat food, and we know why we have to drink water, but the other thing that kills us, we have no fucking idea on. So next time you talk to someone that says, God isn't real, and I believe that we're descendants of trilobites, you tell them, okay, so why do animals sleep, and why do I sleep for 8 hours a day, and it's required?
Well, are you going to try and drag me into the conversation I had last night with Dean Esme?
Well, I wasn't going to go there, but I'm just stating an obvious fact that we really, truly don't know why we sleep, but we know climate change is real, and we know we're descendants of trilobites. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I know the point you're trying to make. I wanted to add to what you just said is that, and again, I'm going to relapse back into my talk with Esme last night. And if you haven't seen it, go on to Esme's channel and watch it. I'll put a link below later, but it was very spiritual, religious concept or talk. But if you want to talk about sleep, I know in the Al-Quran that it mentions sleep as a moment where your soul leaves your body and it reconnects with the source. It reconnects from where you were created.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, that's sleep.
That's cool.
It's like dying. Sleep is like dying in a certain way.
You're gone. You're just out.
Yeah, it's like dying. Your soul disconnects from your body and it goes to its source, and then it comes back. That's what sleep is. But
my grandfather had to do angioplasty, and when you do angioplasty, you die for I don't know how long, but you actually die. You flatline when you do an angioplasty. So my grandfather goes to get it done, right, and he comes out of it. He comes out of the surgery, it was a procedure, not a surgery. But me and my brother are standing next to him at the hospital, and we asked him, "So, what was it like dying? What happened?" And he goes, it happened so quick, and the only thing that I can remember is I gotta take a shit.
It was black. Yeah. Probably primal and black, man. That's to me, death is the ultimate sleep. It's comfortable. It's nothing. Alvaro de Bazaine says sleeping was a way to preserve energy during the night since we could do nothing at night. That's just my guess, no evidence. Well, the thing is, though, is that there are nocturnal animals. Why do they sleep at daytime?
Right.
Night and day
No.
really doesn't matter.
Stephen Hawking, please, can you please elaborate on this for me? Fucking unfucking believable, man.
No,
What they believe in their own farts. That's what they believe in. Remember that you don't watch South Park. There's a South Park episode where they make fun of liberals and they drive Priuses, and every time they say something nuanced or intelligent, they fart and sniff it. Oh, and then the episode goes that they fart so much that it causes climate change.
Well, there you go. Well, that's what they told us. That's what they told us plebs, is that the only thing worse than you exhaling and driving cars is cows farting. It's cows' farts that trap the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere and will kill the world. So it's absolutely retarded. You know, and that's the way that everybody should look at it, as retarded. I mean, it's done. Going back to the rain-making stuff, I'm going to bring up another article.
Operation Popeye.
Operation Popeye? Okay. Give me a second here. Operation Popeye. All right, we're going to go over Operation Popeye. Let me just share the screen.
Make mud, not war. That's the quote for Operation Popeye. That was the code word.
Operation Popeye was a highly classified weather modification program in Southeast Asia, my stomping grounds. During 1967-1972, the cloud seeding, which we mentioned before, operation during the Vietnam War ran from March 20th, 1967 until July 5th, 1972, in an attempt to extend the monsoon season, specifically over areas of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. The operation was used to induce rain and extend the East Asian monsoon season in support of U.S. government efforts related to the war in Southeast Asia. Now, I want to mention this. The concept of cloud seeding I showed you guys already. Here it is being practiced. Cloud seeding, first understood in the late 1800s, okay, and put into practice around 1930. This is ground to sky, before it was sky to sky. Now is being put into practice in warfare in the 1960s. All right? So just understand, this is not new. This is this is a progression of technology being used in warfare. The former U.S. Secretary of Defense Robert S. McNamara was aware that there might be objections raised by the international scientific community, but said in a memo to the president that such objections, that would be President Dick, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Dick. Had not in the past been a basis for prevention of military activities considered to be in the interests of U.S. national security. The chemical weather modification program was conducted from Thailand over Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam, and allegedly sponsored by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. And CIA without the authorization of then Secretary of Defense Melvin Laird, who had categorically denied to Congress that a program for modification of the weather for use as a tactical weapon even existed. All right, there we go. Operation Popeye.
Unbelievable. So I want to make a point. So they say attempt as if it didn't work, but they did this operation from 67 to 73. You're going to tell me it didn't work? You did it the entire span of the fucking war.
No, it didn't work. Yeah. Well,
No, it didn't work. You know, you just did it for 6 years or whatever the fuck, or 5 years.
We tried for 6 years and it didn't work, so we'll give it up.
Yeah. Make mud, not war. That was the motto. And that was the the aviation. I think it was like one of the brigades, or it was just a fighter wing, the bomber wing. That was their motto. So they knew it was working, and they named their operation, the nickname for it was "Make Mud Not War." So obviously it did work. They were using it on the Vietnamese, and of course, when it comes to Western imperialism, it's either we experiment things on the blacks or we experiment things on the Orientals.
Mm-hmm. Well, experiment on people that have value that we need, whether it be land or resources. Really, it's really what it comes down to. I mean, we don't want to get into our master's voice at this point. I don't think.
No, you don't want to.
Nah, people aren't really ready to understand our master's voice. HMV, by the way, the music that went defunct, the record company that sold albums, HMV, his master's voice. No, we don't want to get into our master's voice because that scares people a lot. It's one thing to hear the message, but when you hear where the message is coming from, that scares people a lot. So we won't get into that. But we are into Operation Popeye. You want to get into that more?
Well, it's another part of the experiments that were going on during the campaign in Southeast Asia. I mean, there was a lot of different things that went on to Vietnam that, the rabbit hole for Vietnam is a deep one. And I actually think it's deeper than World War II, to be quite honest with you, because there's a lot of very strange anomalies that came out of the war in Vietnam. There's a lot of in Cambodia, and I spoke to numerous Cambodian men, and they believe in like spirits and stuff when it came to the war in Vietnam. They believe that Rambo's still out there.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Really do. They think Rambo's still out there in the deep provinces of Cambodia, and there are accounts of foreigners living up there for 20, 30, 40 years. I mean, that's part of the reason that drew me into moving to Southeast Asia was all the anomalies that happened during the Vietnam War, and I tried my hardest to go to these places, the Ho Chi Minh Trail, and I went really far deep into the provinces and just stood there to try to just take it all in. Like, this is where a lot of shit went down, 30 years ago, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. But, it's just another part of the Vietnam War and the experiments and the genocide on the masses. There's no doubt about it. So you have that. You have the British Project Cumulus. So it's known, it's already well established and well known that these type of things were ongoing. Now I want to bring forth a little bit of history here. Let me get some light. Hang on. Mm-hmm. This is from Dennis Kucinich. Everybody knows who Dennis Kucinich is. He was a mayor and I think a senator of Ohio. Let me take a look here. HR 2977, the Space Provision Act. Definition Part B in the Act is the banning of chemtrails and ultra low frequency as a form of military, hurting people. It's a provision act to protect civilians around the world, that you don't use chemtrails and what's the other form, using the radio waves and the frequencies to harm people, harm the masses. So this was brought forth in 0102. Okay, obviously Dennis Kucinich knew that the technology was available. Why else would he put this in and present this to the government and try to pass it? You see what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is obviously, and this is from 01. I mean, it's not that long ago. And this was, it was 0102, so it was around during 9/11. And my theory is he put that in because he knew what was going on with the Patriot Act. He knew what was going on geopolitically, where the U.S. is now attacking other nations, and he wanted to shove this through, ramrod this through as fast as he can to make sure the government doesn't do these things.
No. absolutely right. But what I don't really know about is these characters that have that power in that structure. You know, there's certain characters that have that power in that structure that can push these things through, and we don't see it. We don't see it at all.
Well, even if this went through, they'd still wind up doing it, you know?
Yeah, you're right. It has to happen.
So, how about let's keep rolling here.
Well, hold on a second. I wanted to go back onto what you mentioned about the Vietnam War and superstition.
Love these stories.
But this
These are my favorite.
but this is this was a part of World War II. And look. I want to compare.
Let me. Do you know? I can make the branch. I can make the leap from World War II to Vietnam War. What's your leap to it?
Okay, well, I'm not ready to make a leap from Vietnam to World War II per se.
No, World War II to Vietnam. How did it transcend? Can you frame that for us?
Well, I'm not going to frame the leap from one war to the other, but I will frame for you the concept of superstition in war.
Ooh.
And how it continues today. If we go back to World War II, all right, now, again, I'm going to use the concept of superstition. In World War II, the American military was very intelligent. They had a lot of intelligence when it came to cultural superstitions of the people they were invading. How they got that intelligence, I don't know. But they had it, and it was effective, very, very effective. One of the things they did in the Philippines to take over the Japanese is obviously they had to invade the Philippines. They had to take that over because the Japanese were already there. And one of the things they did, which I thought, it just blew my mind when I learned about it. And I understood it because I was living in that same part of the world, and I understood how superstitious these people are. And it's
ridiculous. And let me tell you something. That a lot of that has to do with a non-belief in one God, a monolithic, and not being part of a monolithic religion. You start to get into spirits and sorcery and bullshit.
Yes.
Abrahamic faith completely put that shit to bed.
Yeah, they put it away.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They put it away, absolutely. But and that's something to talk about because I found it fascinating because in my experience in Indonesia, I just thought, wow, these people are so incredibly superstitious. But it never crossed my mind that I could use that superstition to manipulate them. Right? Which is why I'm not a fucking military guy. That's not the first thing that came to my mind. But then I realized, and this does tie into chemtrails, guys. Trust me, and I'll get to that. But back in World War II, the American military had to defeat the Japanese. They had to humiliate them, and in order to do that, they had to take a hold in certain parts of Southeast Asia. And one of the main points was the Philippines, long before Indonesia, because Indonesia was much more further south, geologically much more farther south than the Philippines. And when they came into the Philippines, one of their tactics was to exploit the culture's superstitions. And one of the things they did to completely take them over, they basically researched and looked up what are they superstitious about, what do they believe in, because they believe in ghosts, and there's all sorts of weird ghosts, and they look like this, and there was a ghost that was like a bat woman, like a woman with a bat wings, and flew around, and it flew around and it sucked out the blood of the man.
Oh, I've seen that before. I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the ghost. I know some of the ghosts in Indonesia, but I don't know.
It sounds like a modern day Western wench.
Yeah, exactly. But again, superstition. So we're going to get back to that. So what they did was they had guerrillas go out and capture and kill patrols, local patrols, and then they would puncture their necks with like two needles or 2 points, right? To make it look like, something sucked the blood out of this GI or out of this soldier. And they would do this. They would do these guerrilla patrols, capture these people, kill them, and puncture their necks with these wounds, and then just lay out evidence based on their superstition. And I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of the ghost. There's so many goddamn ghosts in Southeast Asia. I can't remember the name of the ghost. But trust me, just look it up. It's there. And so all of the Filipino soldiers that were holding that area were terrified. They thought that their fellow soldiers had been killed by this certain ghost. And they retreated, and they lost morale. And the United States took over on that island. And they did it through this psychological warfare of manipulating the crazy beliefs of that culture. And they did it. And it worked. And we won. And they dropped the bombs, according to history. Although I don't believe in that 100%. But still, we won the war. But they did it by manipulating the superstitions of those cultures. Because the only reason why America lost the Vietnam War is because they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They could have done it, but they didn't.
They did do that. They had. Are you talking about how they with the spirits and shit?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. In Vietnam, what they did was they played. They put loudspeakers in the jungles, and it made it sound like it was like their lost auntie or lost uncle. We wait for you.
No, it didn't
Don't
work.
come here.
Didn't work.
Nothing works on the Vietnamese. They're fucking savages.
Well, okay, it could be cultural. It could be the method they used. But what they did in the Philippines fucking worked.
Oh yeah.
Like,
well, they're much more tribal in the Philippines.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's they were manipulating the superstitions of the people, really. And honestly, I just want to say this. I think that network television does the exact same thing to us.
Just a different form.
Yeah. Our superstitions in the West, we don't have the same kind of superstitions. We believe that a talking head on a video screen is telling us the truth. That's what we believe. You know, back in World War II, the Filipinas, and the Filipinos, they thought that a talking head floated around in the dark jungle and bit the necks of its victims. So I really don't see the difference. We're very, very.
Well, you watch Game of Thrones and believe it.
Yeah, we're very superstitious here. We think that we see a talking head on a screen, like this flat screen, like there's no substance to it, but we turn it on. We press power, it turns on, and there's a head. There's a head on the screen, sometimes 1, 2, or 3, and they talk to us. And we listen, and we go, oh, yeah, that's real. That's real. See, that's our superstition. That's the ghost that we believe in. The American military knew it fucking 80 years ago, man. They won wars with that knowledge. Wars against people that probably should have beat them. But here we are now. Like, okay, so we're the West. We're scientific. We don't believe in ghosts. but we believe in a floating head on a TV screen. And the reason why I make that comparison is because there is a ghost in Indonesia that is a woman's floating head with its entrails hanging out the neck that sucks the unborn children out of pregnant women. That's incredible. These incredible superstitions.
There's always got to be gore involved when it comes to Southeast Asian
Yeah,
culture.
Well, hey, what's the difference? Here in our culture, there's a talking head, right? A floating talking head. Okay, there's no entrails coming out of it, but the next scene that's cut to is a Swedish woman getting her head cut off with a small knife somewhere in the Middle East. That's gory, right? It's very gory.
Bernard Chapin just covered that another hippie couple got killed. Going to Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso, AM. They two hippie couples, want to relive Woodstock. They wanted to spread love across the world, so they decided to backpack to Burkina Faso. I think they were a Canadian couple, too.
Yeah. What's Alex Jones' little puppy did that? What's his name? Paul Joseph Watson?
Oh, I can't stand him.
Yeah, it's Alex Jones' little puppy did a show on a video on that too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And he titled his video, "It Happened Again," and it keeps happening.
This has been ongoing, and again, it's outrage media because me and AM covered this topic with the Brooklyn Monk on backpackers getting killed in Southeast Asia. It's a very taboo topic. Thailand is the highest deaths for foreign nationals. Never forget that, folks. But they'll never tell you that.
Bali's number 2.
Yep.
Bali's number 2. You go to Thailand or you go to Bali, you're going to die. There's a good chance you're going to get killed. It could be out of your own stupidity, but there's a good chance it might not. So...
that's how it goes. So anyway, what was the? Why don't we bring up the new clouds?
All right, I got it. I got the new clouds here. Hold on a second here. All right, so this is the article you sent me. I'll share it. Hold on. All right, so we've digressed quite a bit in this conversation, but I hope you guys are entertained and you're enjoying the live cast.
Are you entertaining yourself? Are you happy right now?
Oh, I am. Absolutely.
That's all that matters, baby. Who's better than you, kid? Who's better than you?
What are you, Rocky Balboa?
I'm the Trump whisperer. Never forget it.
All right. So going back to the original topic of our chat, it's official. There are now 12 new cloud types to fall in love with. All right. I just want to remind anybody that's just joined in, we were talking chemtrails, and this article is from 2017. Now, I want you to imagine how long people have been looking up at the sky and looking at clouds.
They started giving clouds a name in 1802. So put that in perspective when we get into this article.
1802. They started categorizing clouds and giving them names. And now, at 2017, March 25th, there are now 12 new cloud types to fall in love with. So now the sky's changing, and we're going to have to give them new names. It's not every day that the world officially recognizes a new species of cloud. A new species of cloud. But then again, this has been no ordinary week. In case you missed it, Thursday was World Meteorological Day, and the UN's official weather body observed the occasion by recognizing 12 new types of cloud and cloud features, including...
Ooh, exciting!
Asperities? The wave-like cloud structure that make it look like the world is underwater, as if the sky were the surface of the ocean. And blah, 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 fucking blah.
And AM, that sounds completely normal.
Yeah, of course. I mean, how often do we see new cloud types? We got to see them all the time. There's a new cloud. Look at that cloud. Saw it today. No, but you were going to tell me something about these cloud types.
Well, the founder of the U.S. Cloud Appreciation Society, wow, there's a club for everybody, I guess, Jesus,
Yeah.
Gavin Pinney, started to notice an increased number of images of clouds that didn't look like any type that are classified. Basically, he went on, and I'm paraphrasing now, they're more turbulent, more confusing, more disturbing. That's what he said. So this guy's obsessed with clouds,
Yeah.
okay? Obsessed with them. He is in charge of the cloud society of the world, basically. Everybody that loves clouds and takes photos of them. Oh, this one looks like a giraffe. Ooh, this one looks like my boyfriend's penis. Oh, this one over here, this is my puppy dog. Okay, so everyone sends photos of the clouds that they see. And this guy noticed an odd pattern as of late, recently, of clouds that he's never seen before. So this guy's seen hundreds of thousands of clouds. And he's saying these are chaotic, they're disturbing, and confusing. The form of them, the way they're formed is not normal, is what he's trying to convey.
And they have to give it a new name.
Because you have to.
Well, if you look back at the backdrop we have on our main screen there, let me go back to it. Take a look at that. Look at what Bob, what's his name, Afro, is painting on his palette there. That what cloud formation is that? You got to come up with a new name, man. I mean, you have to be new. It's like dinosaurs. It's like, what are we going to call this one?
Well, the one he's painting looks just like what you showed us in your videos.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, there's 12 new cloud types. 12 of them. Should I care?
That's a lot. That's a lot. Are you kidding me? In elementary school, there was only like 6 or 7. Not even, if I remember.
There was a dozen. I mean, I had the if you look up the Cirrus cloud on Wikipedia, it brings me back to the old days of learning it in school. They do teach you about clouds.
Yep.
You know,
which one's a storm cloud?
Yeah, this is what this cloud is. It's like 10 different categories of clouds. Really.
So now that we're discussing these whole concepts, I mean, we're laymen in this. I mean, I don't even have like a first. I don't even know Chemtrail 101, to be quite honest with you. And then obviously you showing me the videos really put things into perspective, and it's something that needs to be brought to the attention. I mean, obviously the concept of chemtrails, geoengineering, using frequencies to manipulate, using the atmosphere, all these type of concepts. This is just one of the organs to the body of our enslavement.
Yeah, absolutely, and it goes beyond the physical. At some point, it does become psychological, to the point where you become what's the word? You fear ghosts, right?
Well, this shows you that you really have no media at this point, okay? Because these are things that the average layman wants to know about and what's going on, and they want it. You always ask questions until you're satisfied with the answer with which you receive, okay? Period. So if you start asking questions about whatever topic it is you want to know about, you continue to ask questions until you come up with a conclusion that you feel that you're not just most comfortable with, but the most viable and obvious thing to you, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really comes down to, look, I talked a little bit about this on Esme's talk when I was with him yesterday. I'll eventually mirror that talk so you guys can watch it. But the point is that the last thing you need to fear is your own senses.
Right.
I mean, that's the last thing you need to fear. I don't care if the Filipinos feared ghosts, and that's why the U.S. military took them over and fucking killed Japan. The last thing you need to fear is your own senses. Like, don't fear your senses. Don't fear your eyes, ears, and nose and mouth.
Gut feeling.
Yeah, and the way you feel, how you interpret the world around you. This is the problem. This is the real problem. And again, I'm going to go back to Chris from Red Pill Philosophy and his flat earth stuff. But reality is this. Do not deny your own senses, man. Because then you're basically handing over what you consider to be reality into the hands of someone else. And it's not
well said.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you have a soul and it has a destiny, you do not want to hand that over to somebody else. It's up to you.
Especially the UN. Don't let the UN get it.
Exactly. You know, no. Don't do that. Look, you are responsible for yourself and that which created you. And if you don't believe in that, then believe in something else. It doesn't matter. You still control your own destiny. The moment that you give that up to someone else, or an entity, or a group of people, what do you call it? A political ideology, a religious ideology, you're done. You're done for, man. You know, you have your own senses. You can figure it out. You can figure it out yourself. Trust me, you can do it. That's all I gotta say.
Well stated, my good man. Well stated.
All right. Well, we'll finish it off tonight. Look, we gave you what we got about chemtrails. Look into it, please. Look into geoengineering. Look into, I don't know, what else? Look into what, Lamprey?
Again, this is all new to me. I mean, there's you know, like I don't know how to really else describe it. You know, it's just another thing to really look into. I don't really know much about it. It's a very hard topic, and it's a hard pill to swallow. That is for sure. But look up at the skies, see what's going around, see if there's any odd weather patterns happening near where you live. You know, also you have to realize that we're only here for X amount of decades, and we don't know what the weather was really like. We don't know what the weather was like, hundreds to 200 years ago. I mean, we've only been recording temperature for the past 150 years, and we've only been observing clouds for the past 200. I mean, everyone's observed them, but we've never really.
It's not recorded.
We don't really understand what. It's not what the Earth. Again, it is really old, and it's hard to really measure these things. And obviously, in the past, past millennia, that there's been huge seismic shifts in weather patterns. Is it human beings doing it? I don't think so, but perhaps that they are, in fact, doing something to the air, to our atmosphere, and it's playing a little mind trick on all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will go back and say again. You guys trust your own senses, because you can't take your own eyes out of your head and put them into someone else's. That's all you got. You got your senses, right? So trust that. Don't trust someone else's senses. Trust your own. Okay? If somebody takes a lit match and sticks it on your arm and it burns, then you know that you're being burned. But don't trust that someone else, it's happening to them and they can tell you and then that's real. No, don't do it. I mean, that's reality. That's all we have. All right? We don't have trilobites. We don't have dinosaurs.
And no, you're not a monkey having a nightmare. No, you're a human being.
No,
you're a heterosexual male, I hope.
Yeah, and you can feel what's happening to you. You can see it and witness it and experiment with it and share it with other people. So just remember that, you know. Look, when it comes to chemtrails, I've seen it, I've witnessed it, I've watched it, I have measured it, and I've decided that there's something happening. I can't explain it because I'm not one of those people that can touch it. There's nobody that can touch it. Well, there's not me that can touch it. So all I'm saying is that please, 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 your experience is worth more than anything that you might learn from the internet or from your girlfriend or from your wife or your ex-wife or your brother or your mother. It's much more important. That's the only thing that's real, man. And that's what makes MGTOW real. MGTOW is real because MGTOW takes your personal experience and it wraps it up in a pretty bow and says, this is what's real. Outside of that, prove it. Prove it. Now, is there anything else you want to drift on upon while we're online here there?
Well, if you want, we can take a break. I think how many viewers do we have? I think we got quite a bit.
All right, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back, and we'll discuss a few more things tonight, especially on the topic of chemtrails. All right, so we'll see you guys in a little bit. Don't go away. See you soon.
At the law firm of DeLeo and Furex, we understand that sometimes life throws you a curveball. We help our blue-chip clients get their lives back after circumstances have conspired against them. Just listen.
It was an unfortunate accident what happened to my wife on that precarious cliff. DeLeo and Furex can't bring my wife back, but they made sure I didn't end up in the slammer.
I was unfortunate enough to be found with 15 kilos in my spare tire. I was so mad at the auto repair shop that sold me that tire. Thanks to DeLeo and Furex, the district attorney saw it that way too.
I accidentally torched a Quickie Mart when my medication ran out. DeLeo and Furex helped me and the community by ensuring a healthy settlement from the pharmaceutical companies.
At DeLeo and Furex, we understand the judicial system and will ensure the truth is heard, no matter how improbable. We're not cheap, but what price can you put on truth? Call DeLeo and Furex today at 866-974-2333. That's 866-9-SHADY. DeLeo and Furex. Accidents happen, and we'll prove it.
The store leading the fight against communism is having a blowout sale. Ammunition has a wide array of peacemakers. Come by Ammunition on Militia Mondays, exercise your Second Amendment rights, and get 10% off all armor-piercing bullets. We're the only gun store that lets you try it before you buy it. Need anti-tank missiles? We've got them. Flamethrowers? Oh, yeah. No credit? No problem. No money down. 90 days, same as cash. Shoot now, pay later. During the 10-minute waiting period, fire off a few rounds of the Ammunition gun range, featuring faces of famous commie pinkos. Come by Ammunition and register to win an anti-aircraft gun. Actually use one.
Hello, comrade.
His ass. This weekend is the Ammunition Film Festival with 3 screenings of the documentary Red Dawn. Ammunition, protecting your rights.
Knights of the road, here's your stallion. The car for freedom. The car for hot excitement. The car for a man who is alone against the elements.
Thunder.
The pride is back. It's the power of a compact.
Looks small, but it's so big.
Fuel injected.
Inject me.
My Batsu Thunder. On the toll road of life, you have to pay to prove you can. Live the emotion of an individual. The awesome power of nature distilled into one vehicle. Because after you get struck by lightning, there's thunder.
The Maibatsu Thunder. What's this I found under your bed? The only Engels you're going to read is Laura Ingalls Wilder.
If you think your child might be a red, here are some warning signs. They read complicated literature and have concern for their fellow man. They even like to share. Tell your kids if someone approaches them with pamphlets about recycling, an invitation to a labor rally, or showing any doubts about the fairness of our system, then they should find a teacher or a policeman immediately.
Do yourself a favor. Take both hands off the wheel and touch the stereo. Do you feel the power? Ah, yes, friend, there's a lot of evil in the world, but there is also light. And I have been sent to shine a light on all degenerates, philanderers, liberals, and other evildoers, and expose them for what they really are. Don't waste your money on unnecessary and corrupting material possessions. Give it to me. There's only one thing that will save you, a highly fortified structure in the shape of the most powerful thing on the planet, me. Degenerates will ruin this great city. In my wonderful book, I tell of the impending disaster about to befall this planet. Nuclear holocaust, plagues of flying rodents, the seas rising up and turning yellow. It is coming. It is written by me, but you can save yourself. Contribute to the Pastor Richard Salvation Statue Fund. Pick up your telephone. Call now. 1-866-9-SAVE-ME.
Hello, I am Fernando Martinez. I think by now you know I am an emotional kind of guy. People stop me in the street and say, Fernando, what the hell is wrong with me? Silk shirt, hairy chest, enough aftershave to drown a household pet, but I still cannot get a woman. I tell them you are an ignorant fool. Without a symbol of power and fertility around your neck, what kind of woman is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed up with Medallion Man, the shop for medallion needs. Medallion Man caters to all levels of masculinity. For the strong, silent type, a medallion the size of a hubcap will say everything that needs to be said. Even singing medallions for the Casanova, who knows music is the food of love. Model trains, dollhouses, diapers, whatever your interest, we've got a medallion for you. Don't forget, every woman knows if you can't support a medallion, you can't support a family.
We have some sad news for you. Rock and roll is dead and pop is in! Why not discover the excitement of the science of music yourself at Synth & Son, the home of keyboards? Thanks to the science of music, you don't need musical talent to make great music. Just listen. I created that just by pressing a button. Synthesizers are the new wave. Why work hard on difficult compositions when a machine can make music better than you've ever dreamed of? You'll be the hit of the party. It's perfect for in-restaurant entertainment, cover bands, and funerals. Make fugues funky and death marches danceable. It's the science of music at Synth & Son. Remember, you don't know you're a musician until you try.
All right, we're back, guys. Sorry about that. Just need a little break. We've been going for a few hours here. We're going to finish it off with a little bit more commentary on what we've been speaking about.
Chemtrails?
Well, we've got Mormon MGTOW is saying, thanks for the show. Thanks for coming on, Mormon MGTOW. We haven't seen you before. And that's great. You know, I love to see MGTOW of all denominations. You know, I'm waiting for the Hindu MGTOW.
Well, there is a Pakistani MGTOW. I know they're out there. They do have a Facebook page.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the incredible thing about MGTOW is I've seen. Well, first of all, I'm a Muslim. Right. I'll sign
you
my.
Don't say.
I'll hang the sign on around my neck. It's fine. All right. Despite of its origins and whatever it is, but I'll hang the sign on my name and say I'm a Muslim and I'm a MGTOW. Obviously, in America, you're going to have Christians and Protestant MGTOW. Hindu MGTOWs coming out of India because India is, well, as far as I'm concerned, and what I've seen in social media, very gynocentric. So, yeah. And Buddhist MGTOW. And if you're Japanese, you might be a Shinto MGTOW. I'm pretty sure you're there. So it's God, MGTOW is all religions. Atheist MGTOW, are you out there? Atheist MGTOW, I'm sure you are. Trilobite.
MGTOW is the definition of the manosphere. I mean, it's as you like to put it, it's the Boy Scouts without any of the girls in it.
Yes, it's the treehouse. No women allowed.
He-Man Woman Hater Club.
Well, that's what they call it, but we call it no women allowed. It's very simple, real easy, right? If we were painting a picture of chemtrails, we would say no chemtrails allowed, and it's done. And it's just a blue sky, an open blue sky.
The average woman, whether it be in the United States or even Zimbabwe, if women were to listen to what it is we discuss, they'd be horrified.
Absolutely.
And that's how you keep them away. You keep them away with the truth.
Yeah.
You tell them the truth, they run away, always. And now they want to silence you because the truth is sad, and it's not all cute emojis and puppies and Starbucks. I'm sorry. Going to Paquero Fazzo, not a good idea.
No, absolutely. Mekong Farang says, Jew MGTOW? Absolutely.
Why not?
Why not?
We let everybody in.
We let everybody in unless you are a woman, a sodomite, or a transvestite. Well, or a tranny. We'll call them a tranny. But they fall in the same category.
We'll call them lady boys. Give it a little Southeast Asian flavor.
That's everybody that can be here. So, yeah, absolutely. We are colorblind when it comes to religion and your beliefs. But if you absolutely believe that you need to completely desecrate your body to fit some kind of mental confusion, that's better you go over there. Just go over there. You stand over there with the...
Go in your safe space.
Yeah, go in your safe space. You'll be happier there. You know what I'm saying? They'll be happier there. Like, look, men can be happy and... Wait, not just men, but men who are clinically well in the mind when it comes to critical thinking, they're happy here. They're absolutely fine. They're happy. They can be black, white, Chinese, Jew, Muslim, fucking Catholic, Protestant, Buddhist, Hindu.
We redistribute the insults on this live stream. We can make fun of the Jews with the oy veyin. We can make fun of the Muslims with their akbarin. Okay?
Well, because men can make fun of each other. And here's another thing. Jonathan Hardy says, Jew MGTOW, men goyim their own way.
I love it.
Men goyim your own way. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, look, man, we're not gonna let Jewish men not be a part of this. Absolutely not. They can be here. As long as they don't have a fucking set of tits, they're here. 100%.
Yeah, we have a pretty, we've always had a diverse cast, which is great. I mean, even my background and your background, I mean, come on. I mean, we don't even fit the profile of anything that, they can target.
No.
I mean, you're like a lesbian black atheist on the spectrum of like Canadians. Half Hispanic, half French Canadian, Muslim convert with a biracial Asian child. You're so far removed. No one could point the finger.
Well, it is funny, but they
single father too. Look at that one. Also, how could I forget that? Oh my God.
Yeah, even the single father thing, and that I love that about the Western culture we live in. Holy Christ, the Western culture I had to adopt to again after the last couple of years. It's just my entire existence is antithetical to everything that's being thrown at us through the popular media. I don't even know how to deal with it, man. And actually, you know how it's dealt with me? It's basically said, we don't want anything to do with you. And that
you're going your way.
What? Yeah, exactly. And all of my friends from the past, they're just like, no, I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to have to deal with you. You don't belong here. We can't. You don't fit in. You don't fit in here. You're not.
The problem with you being in a foot in two different worlds is that you don't belong there and you don't belong here now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we talked about that in our concepts of expatriatism. Be careful.
I got a question for you. Have you ever had a moment where you actually thought you were back in Indonesia since being in Canada?
Oh, many. I dream about it.
Not dream about it, but you have like literally like an out of body experience, like when you're out in public.
Oh, yeah.
Like this, it's weird when you have it. When you have a flashback, I've only had it. It's only happened to me once. I've only been in the state of shock once in my life, and I only had like a out of body type of like really like weird sensation come over me. And I was at a Chinese restaurant sitting down eating, and this Oriental girl comes walking over me, and just it had to been half of a second, and I just got this huge sudden rush over me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm back in Cambodia real quick. 1 second. It was really wild. It's only happened to me once, but it's hard because when you separate yourself from it, you constantly daydream of it, and I've always had a bad problem within myself on recapturing times past.
I dream about it, man.
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like that wasn't even you. It's like you have someone else's memories in your head.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. That's that's the way I feel about when I'm thinking about Cambodia. It's like, wait, that really happened? And I feel like I'm like daydreaming. I'm like, I'm back in my apartment there. This was over here, and this was over there. And it's really like a strange type of sensation that you kind of go through. And probably it's like a form of PTSD. I'm gonna assume like a lower spectrum, lower grade of it or something.
No, I dream about it. And I wake up from the dream, and I go, whoa, where am I? Okay, I'm here. Okay, I understand where I am. No, it's a real thing, man. Expatriatism is a real thing, man. I know we got Mekong Farong. I know we got.
There's a lot of expatriates that are MGTOW. I mean, MGTOW Values lives in Southeast Asia for 15 years.
Yeah, we got who else?
Hardy.
Hardy's in there. Yeah, absolutely. And the reality is, you do. You actually dream about it. Eventually, you start getting confused. Like, is this where I am, or where am I? I mean, to me, what that does is it reinforces the concept of border control that Trump loves. Look, I don't care how long you go and spend time in another country. If you're not ready to go home, then you're not going to be productive in the country you're in. And it's just reality, man.
No, I was pretty unproductive.
Well, I can shut down every liberal argument about bringing foreigners into your country very, very easily. Like, it doesn't matter how long you live in your adopted country, you'll never be a part of it. It's finished. Your children will be, but not you. And that's reality. I don't know why.
I work with them.
Yes, you do.
I work with them, firsthand experience. I mean, they love America. Oh my God, they're fucking nuts. They're fanatical about it.
They love America, but they'll never adapt. Their children will. Their children.
They're horrible. The children are horrible. Horrible. The parents are pleasant because they're from weasel fuck India or some shit, and they're my friend. It's
yeah,
like,
but they're not the ones that are going to have to adapt. It's their children that have to adapt.
The ones adapting are little sociopaths.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you. It's bad. You see the attitudes on them. Oh my God! You meet a Colombian American, you're gonna want to kill yourself. Woo!
That's interesting.
The Dominicans are even. It's a debate on who's worse. I mean, they're all really bad.
Well, I think the point of it all is that you have to understand that borders are a good thing. They're a very good thing.
You know what? They're actually they're quite new. They've only been around for about 200 years. You know that, right?
Yes, I know that. And that's why we've developed that far in 200 years. Very, very quickly. As soon as borders were put up, suddenly expansion of ideas. Yes. Exactly why.
The immigration thing's getting out of control. I mean, we gotta put things in perspective. Has Trump done anything to stop the social justice warriors? Yes or no?
No, Trump has done nothing.
Oh, okay, and you want to build a wall?
I don't care. Whether he builds a wall or not doesn't make a difference. The point is that if he does, that might help, and it does. Walls help. They do help. I mean, Israeli is proof of that. Iran and Iraq are proof of that. You build a wall and it helps. It's a wall. It's like building a wall in your house. Like, nothing can come through it. Unless there's a door, then you can go through the door. I mean, it's obvious. But I don't know if politically that's going to make a difference, because I'm pretty sure that the powers that be don't give a shit about that. They don't care. I mean, they just want everybody to mix together to be fucking fodder.
That everyone is fodder, are we not? I mean, we're basically cannon fodder as we speak to being a taxpayer. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just thinking about tax paying. Everybody's.
How about we get into Bezos, man, and we'll wrap it.
Okay, Bezos. Good idea. Let's get into Bezos and wrap it. Bezos. Where did I put it?
So I'm sure everyone's heard by now, the most wealthiest man in America, in the world, is getting a divorce from his wife. 25 years together for a woman that looks like a transgender, a lady boy.
Obviously a ladyboy. It could never be an attractive young woman from a billionaire. Not in today's society. Give me a fucking break. This is a narration. Fuck this shit. Bezos? When did he marry his wife? Tell me that.
92. They met in 92.
How old was he and how old was she?
They were kids.
92? It's not that long ago.
Well, he's pretty old. I mean, you know.
Okay, so how old is he now?
I think he's 50, maybe older than 50.
So 92 would have been 28 years ago. So we're no, not even 28 years ago. What the fuck? Like 30 years ago. So he's 60. Is he 60 now?
No, I don't think he's that old. Hang on. I'll pull it up.
It's crazy, man. Because he didn't get in his millions overnight. It took time. It took years. It took decades. Right? So we have to assume that if it took that long to make his billions, then there was
48. The wife's 48.
And how old is he?
He is. He's born in 64. He is 55.
55. Okay, so he's like 5 years on her. She's 55. It's not even old as my mother. This guy's a fucking multi-billionaire, right?
Yeah, he's the wealthiest person in the world.
And now his marriage is finished, and his wife is going to claim what?
Oh, she's probably getting at least half. Easily.
I don't even know how to go from here, man. I mean, was he a billionaire before she married him?
Yeah, I actually feel, you know, you're probably going to disagree with me. I'm going to give you my perspective, is that she's completely devastated. I mean, I don't think it's really about the money when you're with someone for 25 years. I mean,
Christ.
He was a complete Poindexter, bro, when they first met.
Cares?
You know?
Who
Oh, what, because of the 70 billion?
No, because
it's
you earn
unjust.
the money yourself.
I
Why
agree.
do you own that
I
to
agree.
somebody else?
I agree. I'm not saying I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I'm just saying from an emotional standpoint, she's probably completely right.
Emotional standpoint.
Yes.
Can I have an emotional standpoint as a man? If I'm married to a billionaire woman, can I have that too?
Yeah, I take it. Why not?
Yeah, you'll take it. Who else will take it?
I'll be a ladyboy to Bezos.
Oh my God, it's fucking incredible, man. I mean,
love it.
The intensity of a woman's gynocentric control of just pulling the assets out of men at any opportunity they have. And I will tell you this is why they can do it. And it's going to end very fast. No, I will. I'll tell you why it's going to end very fast. But if it ends, I guarantee you there will be legislation stopping it from happening. Now,
that'd be a victory.
Oh, I'll show you the article that I found that I know.
Well, Italy's done
This is the game changer. This is the game changer. Technology. Again, technology is the game changer. If you want to know about chemtrails, technology was the game changer. That's why we know it exists. Technology is the game changer. Even though our masters created it, it's still a game changer for the plebs to understand the language of the people that control us. Right? And I'm going to show it to you right now. I'm going to share the screen. Before you guys go, I'm going to share the screen. This is what I want to show you. All right? Please watch this. This is the Daily Mail. Thousands of dads are left in shock as DIY paternity tests soar.
Oh, yeah.
Sales of secret paternity tests are surging. According to suppliers of DIY home kits, the DNA tests, which can be carried out with simple cheek swabs, are leading to growing numbers of men discovering they are not the biological father of children they had been led to believe were theirs. Alpha Biolabs, the leading British home test supplier, says up to 30,000 paternity tests are being performed in this country every year, and that figures are rising by 10% per year. Of these, around 20% of men will learn they are not the father of the child they are testing, says the company's director, David Thomas. We added that in some regions, the figure is higher, including the Northeast, where it is 30%. And that's enough, really. That's enough. I'm going to stop there.
Hello, I am Fernando Martinez. I think by now you know I am an emotional
That's
kind
really
of guy.
enough.
People stop me in the street and say, Fernando, what the hell is wrong with me? Silk shirt, hairy chest,
this is what
enough
MGTOW,
aftershave to drown a household pet. But I still
one part of
cannot
MGTOW
get a woman.
always said
I
is
tell
that,
them you are an ignorant fool. Without the
concept
symbol of
of
power and fertility around your neck, what kind of woman
matriarch,
is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed up with Medallion Man, the shop for medallion needs. Medallion Man caters to all levels
where
of
you come
masculinity.
from.
For the strong, silent type, a
Has
medallion the
always
size of a
biologically
hubcap will say
been
everything that needs to be
controlled
said.
by women.
Even singing
Because
medallions
everybody
for the Casanova,
knows
who
what
knows
vagina
music
you
is
came
the
out
food
of.
of love. Model
Nobody
trains,
really
dollhouses,
knows
diapers,
what
whatever your
sperm
interest, we've got the
played a
medallion
part.
for you. Don't forget, every woman knows if you can't support a medallion, you can't support a family.
At some point.
We have some
Now
sad news for
technology
you.
is caught up with them.
Rock and roll is
Now
dead
you can
and
say,
pop is in.
well, thank you for giving
Why
birth
not
to my
discover the
child.
excitement
I'm
of the
just going
science
to
of
take
music
this
yourself
test
at
and make sure
Sins
it's
and
mine.
Son, the home of
And that's
keyboards. Thanks to
even
the science of music, you
playing
don't need musical talent to make great music. Just listen.
That's all it's doing.
I created that
You know what
just by
that's doing?
pressing a button.
The
Synthesizers
equivalent
are the
is
new way.
putting
Why
a
work hard
female
on difficult
quarterback
compositions when a machine can make music
in
better
the
than you've
NFL.
ever dreamed of? You'll be the hit of the party. It's perfect
The
for
idea that a
in-restaurant
man
entertainment, cover bands, and funerals.
can
Make views
actually
funky
take
and death marches
a
danceable.
sample
It's the
from
science
his
of
children,
music at Synth and Son.
send it
Remember,
off,
you don't know
and get
you're a
results
musician until you
in
try.
a day is the equivalent that a woman can sit there as a female quarterback. Prove me wrong.
You know what they're gonna say is that the biological father, he's not has custody. It'll be the simp. It'll be the beta bitch who's got to still pay.
Yeah, fine, but you can't deny the genetic evidence. I mean, if you can say that a female quarterback can throw a ball, or no, not a quarterback, I'm sorry, a referee can call a game the same way a man can, without any, we'll just assume she can do it. How are you going to prove she can do it better than a man or less than a man or the same? But you got biological evidence. and you can take it home in a kit delivered to you, swab your kid's cheek, put it back, send it away. A day later, you know what? That's not your kid. This is one of the reasons why MGTOW exists, is because women have always biologically had the advantage of the genetic advantage of being able to understand reproductivity from their point of view. They control reproductivity. They know who their children are, and that's how they control society. A woman can control. Look, let me put it this way: the wife of a king of some society knows the power she has. She gets impregnated by another guy from another culture or another society. She has the child of that kid. She can use that kid because she knows it's from her to control and manipulate politics on a broad spectrum. Women have always had the advantage of biological certainty with their children. Men have never had it. It doesn't exist. Now it does. Now let's make it fucking work. You want to eliminate gynocentrism? Every man that gives birth takes a test. Is it his child or not? Very simple. Very easy. And guess what? Nobody wants it to happen. Women are terrified of it. Like normal women. I've seen it on Facebook. Normal women are terrified of it. Like, wait. Well, if he can find out that it's his. Well, what can I do? This is the power that women have always had. I'm so sick of this shit. You know, the patriarchy. The patriarchy controls everything. Bullshit. It's always been done through reproductive, complete control of reproductive. I'm sick of that shit, man.
Well, it's coming to an end for them. Up 10% each year. What more do you need to know?
No, I want them to, I want to see it leave. I want to see it die. You know, I'm sick of it. You know, look, when my son was born, I'll tell you something. And this is something that a lot of North American men can't do. When my son was born, I was allowed to be in the hospital. I bullied my way in and punched my way in to be in the hospital when he was born. A lot of North American men can't do that. A lot of men in the Western world are pushed out of the labor room where the child will be born. They're not allowed to be there. And that's one thing. That's just one thing. Just convince the man he doesn't want to be there. Push him out. He doesn't want to be there when his child is born. Push him out. That's what they do. When I was in Indonesia, I had to fight for it. I'm like, no, I'm going to be here. I'm going to watch my child be born. You're not going to stop me. And they hated that. They tried to stop me from doing that. And in fact, I had to write a letter to the doctor who was assigned to my ex-wife. I had to write a letter saying that I agree that your nurses will take over. Right? And then when my son was being born, they made me sign another letter that said, I agree that if anything goes wrong with a natural birth, then I am complacent. And I thought, that's bizarre. Why is a natural birth so bizarre? Why do I need to sign a contract for a natural birth? Wouldn't I sign it for like an unnatural birth? But no. They wanted to cut her stomach open and pull the kid out of her stomach. And I fought it 100%. And then my kid came out naturally, and I watched it, and it was horrible. I saw it all happen. I saw them slit the vagina. They took like a knife and go chick, a little slice to the left and right of the vagina so the head could come out. Because Asian women have very small vaginas. So you got to cut it open a bit. Let the head come out, right? I watched it. It happened. It was horrible. There's blood. It didn't look good. They kept telling me, you don't want to see this. Don't see this. I'm like, no, I want to see this. Fuck you. I want to see this. Sign this paper. They made me sign a paper to say I want to see this. So it came out. The kid came out. It spit out. It was beautiful. It spit out. And I said, wow, that's my kid. And it looked exactly like my last brother that was born. And I watched my last brother be born. When my last brother was born, I was 12 years old. And I was allowed into the operating room or the room of birthing, and I watched him be born. And when my son was born, I said, wow, that looks exactly like my brother. And I knew I didn't need a fucking DNA test at that point. I didn't need it because I witnessed it. But I tell you, a lot of men today, they have no concept. They don't see their brothers be born or their sisters be born. It's taken away from them. Like, no, you don't want to be a part of the birthing process. Don't be a part of it. You don't want to be a part of the birthing process because we don't want you to understand that. Yeah, if you're there and present when your kid is born, yeah, it's pretty easy to know when it's yours. But that's not what's happening today. Still there?
I'm still here. You left the part out about how the doctor didn't show up. It was a female doctor.
Yeah, it was a female. Yeah, actually, you're right. It was a female doctor. Didn't want to be there.
It wasn't there.
She wanted to play golf. She didn't want to be there. And you've heard this story before, so I'm sorry that I repeated it to you, man.
No, it's good. I remember it.
I'm just trying to tell it to the listeners that, look, I see these concepts of men taking these tests, this do-it-yourself paternity tests. I see it. I see them doing it, and it makes me think. I'm like, wow, yes, you should take these paternity tests. And it makes me think about my own experience of when it happened to me. It could have been someone else's kid, but when I defended my right to be there, and I defended my ex-wife's right to not be cut open, from breast to vagina, stomach cut open. I defended it not to happen. I said, no, fuck you. I want to see my kid get born naturally. And it took a lot of time, man. And of course, that's in the Eastern corrupt world. It's not like here. It's different. But when I saw it, it really took just me sitting there witnessing it. And I wonder how many men who, okay, in that article that I sent you about a man who didn't realize it after 20 years, it mentions here, Richard Mason, left with partner Emma Wright, has revealed he discovered the 3 sons he raised for more than 20 years were not his. When doctors told him he had been infertile since birth. Could you imagine that? And I think to myself, this is the thing, I think to myself, he did not witness the birth of his children. He didn't. If he saw his children being born, he would have known they're not his. I've been there. I saw my child be born. As soon as he came out, after all the problems it went through, I was like, wow, that's my kid. Like, you, as a man, you can see it. You can see it. It's obvious. I swear to God, any man, when your child is born, watch it be born. Don't fucking stand out in some fucking room where they're like, yeah, you just wait here. You just wait here and everything will be better. No, don't. Bullshit, man. Watch your child be born. It is instinctual. You'll see it. From that moment, you'll see it. And this is the only thing I think that God gave men as a guarantee of paternity. And that is to be witness of your child's birth. Don't walk away from it. But in today's society, they make men just kind of walk out of the room. They go, okay, your wife's giving birth, you just go over there, and when you come back, it'll be okay. No, witness the birth, and you will see if it's yours or not. And they know that, and that's why that's what they want men to think. Oh, no, don't be a part of it. Just walk away. And then when you come back, then there's your kid. No, witness the birth. Then you'll know. And even if you witness the birth and even if you're guaranteed, still do the goddamn test. Still do the test. Please still do the test.
It's important you do it. If that's, if you really highly doubt the woman you're seeing, that's what you got to do.
No, I'm serious. You do the test, man. I don't know what to say. Who was the guy in the Richard Mason? British television, man. Like one guy, 20 years. You thought it was your children, but it's not. Can you imagine that? Like, how would you feel after 20 years of raising children and then one day going like, those aren't your kids, man? Seriously, like, what would you think, Lamprey? I'm serious. How would you feel?
First of all, I can't really empathize with it because I don't know what it would feel like. And that's one. Two is I don't think I'd ever put myself in such a situation.
No, but how many men? Okay, 20 years.
Well, there's so many men that are in that. Dude, it's millions of men on the planet.
Yeah, so think about it for yourself. Like, how would you feel? Look, no, and I'm not just saying like, okay, in my experience, mine was like, my kid came out, I watched him, I was there, and I defied all the nurses and doctors. And I said, no, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to watch this kid come out. And I'm not going to allow you to cut her stomach open to make it happen faster. Sorry. I don't give a fuck. Right? That's what I did. And then when he came out, when he shot out, and I was there to catch him, I was like, holy fuck. That's me. Like, you see it. I don't know how to explain it, but you see it. I guarantee you, Lamprey, ask your dad if he was present when you were born. And I guarantee I guarantee you, when you came out, I guarantee you the first thing in his head was, holy shit, that looks like me. It's an incredible experience. These men that are being cucked, they're not there to see that.
Right.
They're
They were
not
there to witness the birth.
They're not there to witness the birth because they're told not to be. I mean, that's the whole point. Look, nowadays, yes, we can get these DNA tests. But in the past, if you wanted to really know if that was your kid, you had to be there to witness it. But back then, they tried to make men stay away. You know, it's the 1950s concept of the man pacing in the waiting room. You know what I'm saying? Like he's pacing in the waiting room. He's waiting for his wife to give birth. But he's not there to witness it. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Am I wrong here? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I do understand.
You know, even back then, they're telling men to just pace in the waiting room. No, you don't want to be here to witness it. No.
We all remember those the cartoons with the smoking cigarettes.
Yeah, the guy smoking cigarettes, hoping I'm going to see my kid will come out, and I'm not there to, I'm not going to be a part of my wife's experience. I'm just here because the doctor says I have to be here. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. They want to take the father away from that experience of seeing their child born because that is the evidence. I'm telling you, that is the evidence. And I had to fight for that. I fought for that. I was like, no, fuck you. I'm going in the waiting room. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to watch my wife give birth. No. You want to, I had to fight for that, man. I signed papers for that. And that was in Indonesia. You know? I had to argue with the nurse and the doctor, like, please don't cut my wife's stomach open. I'd really like to just have the baby born naturally. I'm the father. I have a say in this. Can I make this happen? No, it wasn't natural. It was a fight to make it happen.
Just to see it.
Just to see it. And when he was born, I swear to God, man, I was like, oh my God.
It's your brother.
It's my brother. There he is. It's incredible. But men are denied that. They're denied that experience. And I'll tell you, man, if I was in that same experience and that baby popped out and it didn't look anything like myself, it's natural. It's this natural thing. You understand. All right? If that baby was not my own, I would have known it. 100%. As a man, I would have been like, what the fuck? That's not my kid.
Right.
100% would have known. And that is why they try to stop that concept. They don't want men to be a part of the birthing process. They don't want them to be because they can see it. It's natural.
They wait for it to develop a face and everything. Like when a baby first comes out, it's going to be quite obvious who it looks like, and then
Absolutely.
then like 24 hours later, they look like Winston Churchill.
Absolutely, man. Trust me. If you get a woman pregnant, God forbid, and she's about to give birth, you make sure you are there to witness the birth. And I guarantee you they will try to push that away. They'll say, no, you don't want to be here. You shouldn't be here. They'll do everything they can. You fight that. And when when that baby is born, you'll see it. 100%. It's the instinct of the father. Like you can't... it's like looking in a mirror, man. Can you look in a mirror? Oh, yeah, that's me in a mirror. No, that's your kid. Like, there's no way to deny it. But this is what we've been through, is this constant tearing apart of patriarchy, of fatherhood.
But if you're a MGTOW man, the chances are, if you actually stay disciplined, you won't actually ever experience what AM experienced.
Yeah, but I don't know what this has to do with fucking chemtrails. I'm sorry I went off on that rant.
It's all right, man. What's our timing at?
Well, we should probably put it down.
Yeah, I got work.
Yeah.
Another grind. Another week in being taxed, being unable to get ahead, can't get women to be nice to you. Welcome to North America, man. Another version of hell. Get on the train breaks down, $500 a month, the trains can't work. I'm getting screamed and yelled at by some dude from India. Unbelievable.
And that's why.
And I get bombarded with sodomite propaganda as soon as I wake up in the morning.
Well, that's why we desperately want.
I am Fernando Martinez.
Oh, and now Mayor de Blasio is giving 300,000 illegals health care because it's their human right.
What the hell is wrong?
I love it, man.
Silk shirt, hairy chest.
All right, gentlemen.
To a household pet, but I
don't
still
really know
cannot get a woman. I tell them
where
you
we're
are
going,
an ignorant
but
fool.
I'll tell you something.
Without the symbol of power and fertility around your neck, what
right?
kind of woman is going to respect you? That is why I have teamed
I
up
think
with
the
Medallion Man,
running.
the shop for medallion needs. Medallion
Cartoon's
Man caters
running
to
as
all
we're
levels
speaking.
of
Make sure the
masculinity.
cartoon is
For
off.
the strong, silent type, a medallion the size of a hubcap will say everything that needs to be said. Even singing medallions for the Casanova, who knows music is the food of love. Model trains,
all right, man.
dollhouses, diapers.
Anyway,
whatever your
we'll
interest,
talk to you
we've
guys
got
later.
Medallion for you. Don't forget.
The
Everyone
point
knows
is that
if you can support
we
a
are
medallion,
MGTOW
you
men,
can
and
support a family.
we're involved with how you feel.
Rock and roll is dead and pop is in. Why not
And
discover the
we
excitement
want
of
to
the science of
understand
music
it.
yourself
So
at Sint & Son? The
come
home
around
keyboard.
again and we'll
Thanks
keep
to the science of music, you don't need musical talent to make great music. Just listen. I created that just by pressing a button. Synthesizers are the new way. Why work hard on difficult
we'll be back
compositions
next
when a
week,
machine
guys.
can
We'll
make
have a
music
good,
better than you've ever dreamed of?
good, healthy,
You'll be the
prosperous
hit of the party.
mid-January.
It's perfect for in-restaurant entertainment, cover bands,
night,
and
guys.
funerals.
Take care.
Make fugues funky and death